slightly positive here to start things off. Brand new week getting underway. We're 0.3 right now for the NASDAQ, about 0.2 for the S&P coming off. What was an interesting end to the week last week, we were touching on Tesla for the most part going into the weekend. Huge gap down, end of the day basically back towards session lows. We are gapping higher once again this morning, coming off this robo-taxi event going back to Thursday evening. If you zoom out a little bit, though, it gives you a little bit more perspective. Yeah, we're gapping higher, but not a heck of a convincing gap to the upside here this morning for Tesla. We'll talk about that coming up. More bank earnings to get to this week as well. We touched on a few of them going into the weekend on Friday. For the most part, better than expected. Banking stocks were strong to end the week last week. Did help offset some weakness throughout tech on Friday as well. Still seeing some weakness over in the Chinese ADR group this morning, specifically with EV names to the downside this morning. I mean, XPeng 5% already, NIO getting hit here a little bit. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving for anyone on this side of the border that's joining us this morning.
I hope everyone had a great one. You ate a lot of food, spent a lot of time with family or loved ones, whatever it is that you did on the weekend. I hope everybody had a great time. And happy Columbus Day to everybody south of the border as well. So shout out to you guys. Lots to talk about today. Boeing in focus, Brendo. When I got home on Friday, I was like, uh-oh, layoffs, uh-oh, cancellations. So they're down again, Boeing down to the tune of 2%. We'll talk about that. Caterpillar also catching a downgrade today, and like you mentioned, Chinese ADRs in focus, and 65,000 on crypto again.
Yeah, some of the individual stocks getting a nice pump to the upside on that move for BTC. But yeah, you mentioned it, Boeing after the close on Friday, huge move down. We just sat here and talked about the $1 billion a month price tag that this strike is going to cost them. Yep. So yeah, cuts to come here as a result, it would appear anyways. 148 trying to hold here right now. For Boeing, but yeah, 2% back downside after a pretty strong end to the week. Oh man, it's I think there's still some turkey coma hangover floating around this morning, but happy weekend, guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Welcome back, Sean.
Did you have turkey?
No.
We had roast beef. What did you guys do?
There goes that hangover. Yeah, similar. My mother-in-law makes something called Mississippi pot roast. It's a funny story.
What the heck is Mississippi pot roast?
I don't know. So we had it a couple years ago, and I told her I really liked it, and so now she just makes it every time. So she actually phoned last month and wanted to know if I wanted turkey or that, and I just said that.
Mississippi pot roast.
Yeah, but I told her the next time turkey. Apparently my
turkey's overrated.
Sister-in-law, doesn't prefer turkey. Oh, she must be in your camp.
We had this conversation on Friday, and I'm pretty sure the chat consensus was that turkey's overrated, and it's not your go-to.
Really?
It's not your go-to meat or bird. Like it's.
No, but I think that's why it's very seasonal. You have it maybe Easter, maybe Christmas. Yeah. So no turkey subs for you today, I guess. We got to get our own lunch here today. There will be no what's for lunch today. Oh, this is still on your
Subway, probably. Here. Well, because Obi only has mine.
I got the stream deck over here.
Because it's a holiday, we don't get the caterer. There's no breakfast this morning. Shreve doesn't have his 75 million eggs.
Shreve was pissed.
He's upset. Well, that's not why he's pissed.
Oh,
he's pissed because the Dallas Cowboys performed about as well as Boeing stock yesterday.
Way worse.
Way worse.
That's the largest loss in Dallas Cowboy history since Jerry Jones bought the team, something like that. On his 82nd birthday.
It was his
birthday to you. Yeah, Jerry's world gets rocked yesterday. But you know what's not going to get rocked today? Nvidia's going to go up today. Google's going to go up today. FXI is going to go down today. We've got some good stories to chat about. And then Tesla, I'm not sure what that's going to do today. I was actually looking at that. What, is that Boeing is under 150?
Yep, again.
Okay.
So
that was the one thing.
What's crazy is Boeing actually rebounded really, really well on Friday. And it was back through the 150 level, which is a nasty one. Look, Boeing stock stinks. Don't need to tell you guys anything not telling you guys anything you don't know. Here, let's go to this daily chart in here.
Well, maybe it's bad enough that it was time to buy it soon.
Well,
SoFi is blasted.
It's got to do something to break the bottom. We keep talking about let stocks make the bottom. Let this stock make the bottom. This is nasty. So underneath that 150 level, as you can see, it might be a breakout. So we were talking all about SoFi on Friday.
Yeah, but it's going crazy right now.
Oh, I don't have my
SoFi is breaking $10. It looks like it's going to. Well, here, I can come over to here. SoFi right now up 6. almost 7% right here. SoFi really starting to break out again. So thankfully, we talked about how, sort of beloved and hated at the same time SoFi is. But there it goes right now. I mean, what a great little run that's been for two weeks or a week and a half now as that continues to go higher. Yeah, so we sort of were beating up this stock for a minute and was like, we want to go long. Well, were you able to get long over there on Friday? Because that was, I think it was this 850, wasn't it? Or maybe it was 9. Yeah, there's too many tops here.
It was Uber kind of.
Yeah, Uber was.
Uber was sort of at the open, the breakout long. But you could have, look, you could have had MST, you could have had MicroStrategy, you could have had SoFi, you could have had Affirm, and like Uber, and then everyone was looking at the Nvidia 135, which wasn't bad. It's just that it only went 70 pennies.
Right.
So like everyone was, it was clean. It just didn't really go very far, which you couldn't have lost on the breakout trade. But there were so many other names to have in there. There is a story with SoFi here. They got a $2 billion loan platform business agreement for personal loans with funds managed by affiliates of Fortress Investment Group. Continuation play. It was a good runner on Friday, but wow, Uber was also
Uber's
very good after the cyber taxi, I guess. Tesla down, Uber was up.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, go back over,
Soul here.
I know. We'll touch on, Michael Noss is going to join us here in a couple of minutes also on a holiday Monday. So we'll touch on some gold. Yeah, you guys mentioned it, but there it is. $2 billion from Fortress coming through for SoFi. That was out about 8 o'clock, so a bit of a delayed reaction here for SoFi. Nice though, 7% back to the upside. Yeah, Noss sent me a note suggesting that gold has been terrible, and I was kind of took a pause and was like, really? But he's going to tell us why coming up here in the next couple of minutes. So stick around for that. We'll also get into Tesla a little bit. I mean, we were touching on it just before we came on here a little bit. Like that video on the weekend of, I mean, not Tesla, but SpaceX.
Yeah.
Catching this rocket was just the craziest thing. And the first time they've ever tried it, and they nailed it.
The super heavy, Brendo, not some little reusable thing that goes to the ISS. This is supposed to make it to Mars. I don't know, obviously, what the time frame is, but this is what he wants to send to Mars, a Starship or the rocket component of it. It was unbelievable. So basically, he'd been landing them on platforms in the ocean. Prior to that, now it's like this super high tower with these kind of like chopstick catching mechanisms, and they kind of closed on it as it landed. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Yeah.
So exciting.
I remember when they first were talking about that idea, and they had a computer-generated animation of that event kind of taking place, and it was exactly what we saw then on the weekend, just to a T. It was just amazing. I mean, 1% here, guys, for Tesla back above 220, but this is not terribly impressive so far this morning.
Well, I mean, 1%. I'll take 1% when the market's volume isn't that big, and the Nasdaq's only 0.3 up, and the ES is a little bit less than that. The bad thing for Tesla is you're still under that 50 period. And hey, man, I geeked out to that landing. I think it's one of the cooler things they're able to do. Like what they're able to pull off at SpaceX is pretty amazing, and it's a great story. Doesn't necessarily. I don't think it matters that much for Tesla, to be honest with you guys, but that 225, it seems as if, that's a 50 period on the daily. It seems to me this is going to be a resistance until it's not. What happened on Friday was that SSR down. It was short sell restricted it got short sell restricted, and then you got that big, massive bounce. It was a good rally that stalled out underneath that 225. I feel like after that cyber taxi event, that 50 period on the daily is going to be the resistance here on Tesla. If we get into those mid-20s, Tesla looks like a fade to me. On Friday, I said if it broke 225.5, that's a reversal long. Look for a gap fill. Still feel the same way. If it can get past 25 and get past $0.50, I think it could go. But until then, I think shorting into that level makes the most sense. It was a bit disappointing. It's not often that you see an SSR name bounce that strongly and then not really hold on to much strength there. So unfortunately for Tesla, I feel like it could easily be headed for the 200 period moving average, which might provide a bit of an opportunity. Oddly enough, that's at $200. So all roads kind of feel like they're leading to that if we don't, at least this week, regain that 225.
Yeah, I was looking at Tesla as well. I think it's almost better you let it settle down a little bit. This would be now day 2-3, so you get event happening Thursday, so that kind of trades off Thursday. And then Friday, you come into that big move down. And did it stop? Yes, it did. And it rebounded quite nicely up to that 223 level. So, yeah, for me, I would say in and around there would be the close, or would be the place to start to look short if that's what you're going to do. But for me, I think it's worth letting it settle down just a little bit here. It's pretty much barcoding here in the afternoon, in the pre-market. So, and if anything, looking to go the other way. I don't know. You always look at closing prices, so that could be something to look at as well. 217, 217.50 for a possible spot where we could land if there is a little bit of a, a downside push. But yeah, I mean, look, everything that's happening technologically is pretty nice. And I mean, Tesla's going to lead the way in many of these aspects, right? So we'll just wait to see what this robo-taxi is all about, how the market likes it. Obviously, they don't right now. There's not too many major tech names that produce like this, that have this market cap, that are below the 50-period moving average. This is one of them. So I think there's worth buying if you like the stock, and then if it goes lower, you buy a little bit more. But yeah, right now Tesla definitely in a downturn. So yeah, it's too bad they didn't like it. I was thinking it could get up to 260 if they did. It just went $20 the other way. So
did you see the Optimus stuff? Like the
yes, I saw the dancing robots and all that.
Pretty
stuff.
Cool. Like,
yeah, it's pretty cool. But again, is everybody ready for it yet? And I don't know. Do they have that disposable income to get that? Is it worth it for what it provides?
And when do we get it? That's the real question.
I don't know. I'm just waiting for Brendan to get it.
Brendan's going to be the first. No question.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving, Mr. Michael Noss. Thank you for coming on this day. If I see some wild turkeys running around in the back, man, that would be wild today. Wouldn't that be crazy to see that? We were driving home from up north yesterday, and we saw at least 7 or 8 turkeys.
Yeah.
All on the road, or not on the road, on the side of the road. Thank God. There's so many of them this year. I don't know, maybe it's a weather thing, but
maybe.
So nice outside. Oh, you should see. I golfed on Saturday. Oh my God,
it was nice. It
was gorgeous,
on Saturday.
The scenery was to die for. Everything is red and orange, yellow leaves. It was fantastic. So, okay, Michael, let's go kill him with kindness.
Yeah, the weather was amazing here this weekend. How about in your neck of the woods, Mr. Noss? Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so far so good. It's starting to rain today, but I already got all my turkey eating out of the way, so I'm okay with having a quiet kind of shutdown day after that for sure. So let everything work its way through for a while.
You're joining me on the tryptophan hangover this morning a little bit?
Yes, I was about to say, if I'm starting to talk a little bit slow, I haven't been drinking. It's hard to sleep when you got 20 pounds of turkey in your stomach.
Agreed. Let's touch on material stocks here. I teed it up there a little bit. I mean, gold it hasn't been an exciting trade, but back to almost highs as of the end of last week. What are you seeing as far as material stocks around that, though?
Yeah, so between eating multiple turkeys at multiple people's houses, I did get to go through my general 150 or so ETF charts. And the first one that just kind of popped up as something that we got a great potential breakout looking here is XME. So this is a weekly chart on XME. You can see a little buy ticket is the most recent one for our trade wave indicator showing that, hey, we're in a little short-term uptrend. But just look at this long-term resistance that we've been dealing with at all-time highs for a long time. So break it down a little bit more, but XME is your S&P 500 metals and mining ETF. So, right, Brendan was talking about gold. This isn't so much going to be about that. There's going to be some breakdowns on some other metals and some other things to mine. So the next slide is just, I get this question all the time. It said, okay, you scan these ETFs, but how do you know what's in them? The beauty of it is they have to report that by law. So if you just Google the ticker of any ETF and then just holdings.
Alcoa?
So I just Googled XME holdings. This is everything. These are the top 10, I think, names that are in it. So it's going to be, they have to do it, and they have to do it every time they update a holding. So it's very easy information to find. So if you find an ETF that you like, and then you want to go look at the individual names, it's just a simple Google, and they're all right here. So yeah, we have Alcoa, and then we have FCX, which is copper, and we have STLD, which is steel. So just a lot of things that are these mining, again, and metals outside of not really too much precious metal. We have like NUE, which I think does some precious metal, but mostly, the other stuff, right? So we've had precious metals go for a long time. We've had gold go for a long time. I'll argue that it wasn't an exciting trade because I'm still holding some. So I'm always pretty excited when I see new all-time highs. But I went through this, and a lot of these names I knew, but one I didn't. And this was that HCC. So I actually took a look at this one here. And it looks pretty nice. So HCC is actually coal ETF or coal miner, and the coal ETF is delisted, so I can't even look to see what the overall coal market looks like, which is funny because maybe a section for another time, but generally they delist these ETFs and it's the bottom of that particular sector. So when I went through and I looking at this, I want to find stocks that are in this that I think that if the ETF breaks out, these have good potential setups because they would move higher if the ETF moves higher. That's kind of the premise here. And this HCC has a pretty typical just bull flag going on here. Now we have 10% short float, but that represents 9 days to cover. So I talked about this with Neil on the After Hour show last week. We'll probably talk about some of that this week as well. But this 9 days to cover is more interesting to me because it's a big company, a big float company. So it means that if this breaks out and XME breaks out and some of these shorts have to cover and move somewhere else, it would take them 9 days to get out of their position. So this isn't something that's going to double or triple. I'm not expecting crazy gains like that, but a little bit of a short squeeze could be super nice there. So nice looking bull flag. Last but not least, I think this is going to be a pretty easy setup here on the intraday chart. So I drew this line. Sorry, I have to zoom in because my eyes are old, but that's like 64.50 is that high. And you can see it was a high a couple days ago, twice, and then it was the high on Friday as well. So this is being a 30-minute chart. I think my trade is going to be pretty simple here. I'm going to try to get involved if we get a couple 30-minute closes or later in the day a breakout of this 64.50 area. I think this will be a good little addition to the portfolio. Nice tight stop. Worst case under that swing low, you're talking $60, absolute worst case. Again, this is not going to be the most exciting, crazy mover. It's a coal stock, right? It's going to move little bits here and there. But if we get this metal miner ETF breaking out, and some of these breakouts that have occurred on these longer term ETFs all year have been fantastic, I want to own something inside the sector and put that into my portfolio.
Looking very similar to other mining names as well. Yeah, good look. Again, in the coal area of the world, is there another maybe metal area? Maybe we can touch on that after the close tonight a little bit. But I know a lot of people keep an eye on silver. We've touched on silver many, many times. Is there another area of the mining group per se that is setting up possibly with some opportunities coming up here as well?
Well, yeah, so silver is interesting because it's been just incredibly frustrating for, I think, everyone involved, myself included, who's tried to take a couple swings at it. What I'm interested in, although it's a little bit extended right now, is a lot of the copper spaces. And you saw a lot of that. I think that's the reason that this ETF got as high as it is and close to that breakout, because that's a Chinese-related thing. The idea is that if the Chinese economy really gets going and they got to build a lot, then they're going to have to buy a lot of copper, maybe a little bit of steel as well, but specifically copper. So if you look at any of the copper charts, though, they're really, really overextended. They look a lot like the Chinese charts as well. So I like them, but I want to see some sort of rest or pause in the copper sector in order to get involved.
Great stuff. Michael Moss back with us after the close at 4 o'clock tonight. We'll see you then.
See you then.
Thank you, Michael. And we'll probably, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about some miners and maybe a little BTC as well, because that's starting to get on the rebound. I wonder if it will finally make that break. FCX is worth watching here. And we're in the context of looking at those like downward sloping bull flags. Obviously, you get excited when they break them out. And I think Freeport is one in the group that probably a lot of people hear every time we talk about it. This is one of the names that I think garners the most interest. So oddly enough, right on Friday, what did it do? We went right up to the top of the range and pulled back. There's usually a couple of ways this plays out. Like you look for bounces off the bottom of that descending wedge, which is about low 48s into high 47s. The day that it finally does your nice little close, breaking above this trend, I think is a nice spot to enter into along. So you got to wait for it. If you're looking for a swing trade, you probably have to wait for this to break it out, and then all systems go. The day trade, if there was better volume or a catalyst on it, I think maybe you'd get down to the bottom of that trend line today, down 3%. A lot of the Chinese names are down. I think that's going to be in sympathy as well. So you might actually get a test of this bottom here on Freeport, maybe even today.
We've been talking about gold for a while. I mean, I still think you can buy that. I think, if you haven't hedged yourself into it, obviously you missed this huge run up. But, with this world forever becoming a little more unstable, it seems like Plus, we have election coming up. I know that hasn't been too much tail or headwinds for any of those things, but gold's been moving quite well. You have Barrick Gold as well, GOLD, to get some of that yields can be taken instead of holding gold. But yeah, I like Bitcoin. Maybe better than all the rest, but we'll wait to see what happens here. I'm still trying to watch SoFi trying to break through 970 now at the day's high. SoFi is still trying to go. So I'm in, I'm not in it yet, but I'm trying to get all over this one. So I really like SoFi and what we're trying to do right now. So, okay, what's the short flow in SoFi? About 17% is what I was able to notice. So that's what's happening there. It's out on the sticky note. I have SoFi written down there for some levels. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening. All right, upgrades and downgrades at the screen.
A lot of financial names on today for the upgrades side today, Sean. Affirm getting an upgrade again, this time from Wedbush. That's 3 times out of the last 4 days that Affirm's got an upgrade. They also upgraded Upstart, so it's kind of the same group there. Sentinel One getting the nod from Piper Sandler, and another financial upgrade today from Monet, Crispy, and Hardit for American Express. After breaking, though, $400 last week, Caterpillar gets a bit of a downgrade today from Morgan Stanley. Didn't have an opportunity to read it quite yet. Duolingo, Canada Goose, and Amgen, guys, all on the downgrade side.
Yeah, Firm had a big day on Friday, like a lot of things did. Breaking into a fresh top here. It's not a 52-week high, because in January there was a breach of that 50 level where everything started to the downside for Firm. But it did get through a resistance at 48. Very late, and then failed that 48. That was the afternoon trade, was like the mean reversion on Affirm when it had such a crazy steep trend line that when it reverted, it gave you like a clean dollar back in there. Do like this one over under 48. You know, it's a pretty clear level on that daily chart where you rejected before. That was the top on Friday. Wanted to say yesterday. And if we can break that top without getting underneath that 48, I think you can get a bit of a continuation play here on Affirm. The interesting thing is, as Sean mentioned, the short float on SoFi, which is almost 18%. Affirm's is only 7.7. It's not what it used to be in terms of short float. So it's not going to have the huge squeeze potential like it usually does. But continuation here makes a lot of sense to me. That 48 just has to hold. If you lose 48 again, like on Friday, I think a retest of the 46.5. You know, there was resistance in the morning. That's where it bounced on the reversion trade. So that makes all the sense in the world. If you lose 48, you're going to that 46.5 on AFRM. Super, super strong Friday. But then what wasn't strong on Friday, really?
Yeah.
Tesla.
I'm waiting for 950 on SoFi, but I'm just going to buy right now. So I just bought some 71s just to see what winds up happening here. I don't want to get like caught with rose-colored glasses here, but this is a nice move upside. We just talked about SoFi being 17 to 20% short float. I have 17 and change, and Neil just talked about it. So we'll wait. I mean, I just don't want to miss this thing if it runs into 10 for the open. At least we can take something out. It just pulled back a little bit there from 78, so 978 or so as the top, which we can see is marked right down here on the platform. So we'll wait to see. I mean, if it comes back in and bases around 960, that's fine. I'm not doing anything until VWAP, so that's what I wrote down on the note. You can go check it out at Trader TV, Sean, but I'm going to wait to see what winds up happening here in and around this 950 marker. So that's going to be a level for me for SoFi. We'll wait to see what winds up happening there. I just want to get involved there. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our Canadian viewers as well.
A couple things just popped up in front of me here. This XPON, once again, yeah, SoFi just pulling back a little bit there, but XPON above $4, I guess it was. There was a huge volume spike. Another one with a positive note on it this morning. RANI, another little one moving around. There's LBPH up better part of 50% here as well. Longboard Pharmaceuticals. Downside, a few little ones. A couple of people were talking about DWTX and ZENA to be aware of as well. That's what it looks like right now. Came off pretty heavy on Friday heading into the weekend. There was a note on PanW I just saw come across. Didn't really do much, but above 375 here. This one had a pretty good day. Yeah, tree flaking that. This one had a pretty good day back on Friday, I guess Thursday and Friday, to the upside for PanW. But yeah, Jim Cramer with some comments on PanW there.
Yeah, I was actually watching. I was watching a program this morning. And they were talking about what's CrowdStrike and how it was best in class and how they didn't actually see a mass exodus of users after that debacle that they had in the summer. It was a 90% retention rate. That was one of the reasons I was even looking at PanDub, because I figured, some companies would cycle in, or at least they would diversify, Brent, a little bit here, a little bit there, because they didn't want to rely too much on one company. But apparently it didn't happen. So PanW running for its own reasons here. I want to build up on your point on VERB. Great looking small cap gapper, really bull flagging right now above that 10.5. Good movement in the pre-market here, 40%, and one that I'm certainly going to have my eye on as we go on.
Yeah, relatively low float on that. This was that day, if you jump over to, there we go, thanks. CRWD, this was that day you were talking about going back to last week. Continuation move then into the weekend. Here we are again, guys, 322 now for CrowdStrike, as well as PanW looking really strong again this morning.
Yeah, PanW's got a triple top that could be breaking, maybe even today. Let's just call it, because it's at what are we at? We're at 375. I mean, the spread is $4 on this thing, but the offer is at 378. But look up top, 381 clean in here. You go all the way. That's going all the way back into February for PanW. Feels like this thing is going to likely break that this week. You're super strong going into it. There hasn't been a red day since bouncing off the 50-period moving average. So I feel like when it gets there, and I think it's a when at this point, you're going to look for that breakout off the top. Crowd has been a more interesting one, obviously, because of the outage. And like Sharif, yeah, I'm surprised they didn't lose at least a little bit more business. That said, bought it on the dip and pretty happy with it so far. And it's nowhere near its highs, obviously, for Crowd. It's the same move in terms of last week, every single day was green. So you're basically making a new breakout over the 200-period moving average here on Crowd. And there is a gap to fill. So since we got the 310, there's a bit of a gap fill into 340 that Crowd's got. So there's no overhead resistance like you do on PanW. We got it at 381 because that's the fresh triple top. No, instead, CrowdStrike has a bit of a gap to be filled for the next $15 to $20. Feels like a little bit of a consolidation day. There's no volume on it whatsoever. That's evidenced by that spread that we saw on PanW being $4 or $5. And here, I haven't seen a print since I even called it up. So I don't know that today is the day that it really extends. But I think if it gets through that quarter, Crowd's the one that has a bigger gap to fill at current levels. Whereas with PanW, you need to break that 381. I could easily see it just sort of consolidating a bit and then eventually making the breakout. Love both names. I'm probably going to ring the register on CrowdStrike if it gets to fill in this gap into 340, 350, take half out, and not sure what I want to do with the other half. I might actually, I might put it into the index. I'm not really sure what I want to do if I get that 350 and take that Crowd out.
I was just looking. I was only long at 250.50 or something like that on CrowdStrike, so I'm probably going to wind up holding that one. Just got to see, like the account is doing. Disney maybe got to sell some of that as it continues to go a little bit higher, through $95. Okay, so just quickly here, SoFi continues to go, right? So now you're back at the highs again. We bounced off of here a couple times, 980. I mean, we could take a dime out of a piece of it. I'm thinking about just doing that because we've been bouncing off of here, start the day with a nice little scalp, and then just hold 80%, like see if we can get that $10 mark. Remember, we do have these imbalances coming through as well, so that will have, this is a NASDAQ stock, so we won't get these for a minute, but right now, pretty mixed buys and sells all over the place, with the NASDAQ continuously going higher right now. NASDAQ's going to be the next one. ES and the Dow already closed at all-time highs on Friday and both opening up higher today. So looks like all-time highs continue to get pushed here in the market. NASDAQ next one up. SoFi not going to get to all-time highs today, but hopefully it's on its trek back to the upside, as we've got one on right now. It's SoFi long.
All right, lots to get through this morning. Let's jump into how the overall market's setting up here to kick things off on a Monday.
All right, guys, we closed out at 58.60 or 58.59. So we broke that 50-point level that we've been using as resistance, albeit for a short period. So now we're looking at 5,900. I mean, it's a blue sky setup, all-time highs on the SPX, obviously on the December contract as well. The overnight high, 58.74. Let's see if we can break through that. If we can, then we're looking at 5,900. To the downside, we're going to use that same level that we broke through last week, 58.50 as support.
If you haven't done so yet, absolutely free resource every single day coming your way. Go down to the description of this video right now. There's a link there for the watch list. All you need is your email address, and then it comes right to your inbox every single day. We do your homework for you. It's that simple. We're not an AI yet. 220 holding here right now for Tesla. Just popped back up a little bit. I mean, we can talk about the what happened back on Friday with the robotaxi event. A lot of analysts with a lot of opinions, and most of them pretty negative. Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that SpaceX thing is a bigger story. I mean, not for the stock, but for the world, maybe. Overall, over the weekend, that was pretty amazing.
And for the hype, for the Elon Musk juju hype, you know, the fact that he can get stuff done. And there it is. I mean, this is unbelievable what we're watching here, guys. This is a huge piece of machinery. I think it's monstrous. I think it's something like a few hundred feet. I'm not sure exactly. Obviously, they stack them up on top of each other. This is actual Starship itself. I've seen Elon stand next to this thing. Is huge. I'm not sure exactly the size, Brendo. But anyway, back to Tesla. Canaccord Genuity today with a bit of a nod to Tesla after the robotaxi event last week, maintaining the buy and boosting the price target to 254. So we'll have to watch how they do. Already up 1.43.
I was reading a few of these notes over the weekend and opinions on this robotaxi event. The general theme, I guess, was why are they two-seater and why are they two-door? And I mean, maybe it's just a start and there's going to be bigger versions, but interesting to start. But yeah, I mean, two years away, guys, from robotaxi.
Bang.
Right there, SoFi did go through 80. It's now 85 or 84, 85. We just had 85, came back through. So a good little win here to start the day. We just take out 20%. We tweeted it out. It's also on the sticky note. What's not on the sticky note today is Tesla. I was going to just try to let this one settle down a bit, but you know, normally it's like off earnings or any events. You want to wait a couple days to see what winds up happening with the stock. But for me, I mean, I like that 223 area. I think I was pointing this out before. I think if we break that, it looks like we want to get back to the high side right now. That would be 225 where we were in the pre-market after the event. So I think that would be a level. That's been the highest it's been since. So I would really think that that's a decent area right there to get logged. So I would say 225 breaking through, taking that trade might be the one for me. So that's worth waiting for. You know, it was, we talked about this a little bit. We're right here right now, 221.50. Those are some levels there on Monday as well. Those could be, again, blasted through at some point. So I like all of these levels. I think the better one to do is make sure that you're right and just clear this. And that is basically 225. So that's not a problem to get up to that level. You know, we've seen Tesla move $10 easily. It has huge moves off the open. So I would just say watch out for that. That's almost $7 clean right there. I don't think we go up in a straight line or anything, but let's just wait to see. There's still 30 minutes roughly until the market opens up. So I think you got to give Tesla a little bit of a breather here. You know, the stock that I'm going to be hitting hopefully today is going to be, and we'll get to it, is going to be Nvidia. But yeah, I like Tesla. I could see myself trading it. It's been a well traded, nicely profitable stock. Especially at these levels when it has these moves. And it's only $220, so you're able to trade it with hopefully a little bit of shares. So we'll see what winds up happening here with TSLA. Sticky note is out and SoFi's running.
Yeah, one thing to remember with Tesla is it is SSR today because of the drop. It did get to 10% down just very, very briefly on Friday. As a matter of fact, like that move at the open was essentially like it got to 10 points at about 215, couldn't break 214, and then you get a rally into the upside. It's weird that, yeah, like it looks like 220 holding pretty clean in here. So you got 15, 20, and 25. So 15 was Friday's bottom. You got 25 as a resistance, which I think I agree. I mean, I had that as a breakout as well. Big level on Tesla, but then this 220, because it's SSR, generally speaking, one of my favorite setups for that is a simple false break of a support level. In this case, support at 220. So if at the open, Tesla were to break 220, hang on to the pre-market low, or at least close enough to it, come right back up through the 220 level, maybe like a false break of that level, then reclaiming it on the way back up, that's a trade. You know, that's a kind of a patented SSR bounce kind of thing. So because it's going to be short sell restricted, that means in order to hit the bid to enter a short position, you need to have an uptick. Uptick rule in effect, I like bounce stocks when they have those, so the 220 is setting up rather nicely. If it gets to 225, I think first time through, I'd be looking fade there, at least through 225.5. And if it breaks through that, yeah, then work the breakout. I feel like that 220 trade could come in pretty much right away.
All right, a couple things real quick. Pepsi, Gatorade actually, but Pepsi owns Gatorade. Pepsi just popped up in front of me here. Gatorade announcing a generative AI design experience. That's what I said. Gatorade AI is now a thing. So if anybody was curious and designing something on Gatorade AI, go for it. There's also BB AI. Is it on New York? It is on New York. I didn't know that. Big Bear AI just popped up as well. There's a $165 million military contract for Big Bear AI. So 170 there, a little bit of a level, up 5% here for BB AI. Let's talk about crypto. MSTR has been the one to watch the past couple of weeks here. Just an absolute monster again today. Back above 220 for MSTR, up better part of 6% at the highs there. But yeah, nice move for Bitcoin back through 65,000.
Yeah, it's a good look here, up 3.25% already. Marathon Digital also getting the nod from Bernstein today, a price target upgrade of $23 and maintaining a market perform, or initiating, a market perform. Separately, obviously, on the weekend, there was some stuff, information coming with respect to polling for the upcoming U.S. election. Could have something to do with why Bitcoin is up 3.25%. Obviously, we're going to keep our eye on this one the entire day.
Yeah, I mean, a sidestep maybe from crypto in general, but I mean, Robinhood, we were talking about a little bit last week as well. Another one that's just been a monster. Just took out the highs there as well at 27 now for Hood.
Yeah, Hood on the rise. MSTR had just a monster breakout on Friday through 189, and then it was a pretty solid continuation play as well. It's gapping into no man's land here on MSTR. So I think you want to be at least a little bit cautious here, because it's a complete blue sky setup. Like, you don't really have, like, there's no levels to work off at this point with MSTR. You know, since it broke downtrend, essentially fresh tops in here. And this is without Bitcoin taking out 65,000. So this is in squeeze mode. Its short float's about the same as Sofi's, oddly enough. There, if you listen to those estimates, when you're looking for a continuation play and there aren't any obvious levels, you know, something as simple as, can it hold a pre-market low? Can it hold VWAP? If yes, look trend up. Now, something that hasn't been trending up, but all of a sudden did make a bit of a break, is the weakest name in the crypto space, at least the weakest one that I've noticed, is Mara. Mara's back above the 50 period. Now, it's rejected this the last few times and been riding underneath the 50 SMA. Now you're gapping above it. If this time it holds that 50, relief rally time into at least $19 here for Mara. It's been a bit of a dog, so we want to respect that fact. Let me just get rid of that trend line. Don't need it anymore. If there is a gap fill, it could easily come right back in at 16.5, 1640 to 1650 if it tries to fill in the gap. If it holds, break out at 17 here on Mara. It's been waiting a while to take out this 50 period, and it's being dragged up by a lot of stronger names, I think, as Mara has been languishing underneath that 50 period. But the short was at that 50 period the last little bit. Now that it's gone, I think it's got some blue skies, at least till you get to the 200 period SMA, which is at 19. So 17 break here on MARA. MSTR, yeah, when you're at all-time highs, there's no levels to work off. Just got to patiently look for a dip buy and trend to play in. But you know, Mara, a little bit more simple.
We do have one more outcoming on SoFi. So SoFi right now is back to its highs at 988. So we have done real well by buying that right there. But again, you never have enough shares. We took it in the pre-market, so we'll wait. Look, I just think that you want to buy iBit. I mean, I don't, you know, I feel like I've been buying a little bit more Bitcoin at some of these levels. I don't, you know, nothing to write home about or anything like that, but you know, holding the 50 period, looks like it wants to continue to go higher. Obviously, you get the 3% today, but if you're holding Bitcoin, I mean, it just goes up and down and sort of, you know, you got to play the tide here. But what about breaking? I mean, you're still not near 38, 39s. I mean, there's still a ways to go up. Thing is, it's not really moving too much here in the pre-market. If you are going to break 65,000, then yeah, this breaking through 37 is going to happen. Tons of size here. I think you watch IBIT. I think you can play it back into the VWAP or anything like that. Really nice trend upside. I think you're going to just play positive trends. And this one right here is exactly that, especially if we break 65,000, you're going to want to be in this because I think that could get you the juice into that 67, 68. And that, we've seen this name move, I guess we call Bitcoin a name, I guess, move, 4, 5, 6% in just a matter of a flash. So this could go. And if it does, I don't want to be short anything. So we'll watch to see if 65 can get going one more time here and break through, especially when the market opens up. People could flock over to an ETF. So we'll see if IBIT goes. Remember, options and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it could really create something going on here for IBIT. So we'll have to watch out for that one.
All right, Boeing back higher right now after gap to the downside after what happened going back to aftermarket on Friday. Huge day back higher into the close, and then we just give it all back basically. In the aftermarket, job cuts coming through. I mean, these expenses for the strike just getting out of hand. So they're going to have to do something, I guess. Yeah,
you mentioned this right at the top of the show. $1 billion per month is what the machinist strike is costing them right now. They're not producing any airplanes. If they are, it's very few. In addition to that, on Friday, they announced that they're cutting 10% of their workforce. That's going to amount, sadly, to about 17,000 lost jobs there. They're also pausing for the foreseeable future the 777X wide-body airplane, which was supposed to launch in 2026. That's going to be well delayed. Tough look here, Brendo, and it doesn't, obviously give me any pleasure to report about this, but yeah, it keeps getting worse for Boeing.
Yeah, I never want to see people losing their job, unfortunately. Meanwhile, markets at highs right now, just took out the highs, actually 0.5% for the NASDAQ, but 1.5% here for Boeing, guys. Getting into some decent levels from Friday anyways that were support.
Yeah, when the market's going to highs and you're at 52-week lows, generally speaking, that's not a good thing. So Boeing, again, just more troubles in here, and it's frustrating because this felt like it was a stock that, on Friday, if it could have just held the 150 level, might have been onto something here. But once again, it can't seem to get out of its own way. The support that was at $150, it looked like it could have reemerged. Now looks like resistance again on Boeing. So down 1.5 points. As Brendan was mentioning, it's getting into maybe the lows from. Technically not really the lows from Friday, but like the afternoon lows, I should say, 149.25, which was a resistance level before. If it never breaks those, I think you can maybe pop and fade there. It's the 50 level that I feel like is the bigger one on the higher time frame, but that's a short target area on Boeing until proven otherwise. I'd love for the stock to break out 151 and close at the high 50s, and we talk about this all the time. If you're trying to pick a bottom in something, though, allow it to actually make a bottom, make some higher lows, show you the breakout, that something is happening instead of constantly bottom picking. Because every time it looks like support, the support seems to break and then you get lower highs and lower lows. It's something along the lines of, it can happen, like something along the lines of like what Snow did. So you get the consolidation, it stops making the lower lows, there's your breakout, and now all of a sudden you have something going. Boeing is still at that stage of finding a bottom. Unfortunately for shareholders like myself, because I own shares in the stock.
I mean, cutting workforce is probably a good thing, but then again, it's going to be harder to meet the demand because the demand's not going to be going anywhere. They just need to figure out this machinist strike down another 2%. I mean, yeah, it just continues going lower. I think you just want to fade everything. So yeah, unless it comes back up to 151, I think you sort of wait for it. You sit on your hands. You could short a 150 level. I mean, that's been pretty key as well. But yeah, I mean, not really much to say here about Boeing other than looking into the story and trying to figure out when exactly this name bounces. I'll just take like a sort of a piece from Brian Shannon and stuff like that. And that is like, this stock is basically in the penalty box until proven innocent. And I mean, right now just continues to go to the downside. You don't need to chase this. Just like if you're shorting this on the way up, like where do you stop shorting it, and then eventually, you get maybe a top and then it gives you something to go. I mean, this would be sort of the same case where maybe you thought you were bouncing here, maybe into here, 160. But then once you started to break down, we've sort of just now, and it just looks like stairs now. I mean, you're just going down. So you need to wait for some sort of a platform. And right now on Boeing, I mean, we can keep zooming out and everything. I don't even know if it matters what we're looking for now, because this would be, 125. Like, is that going to be a level? I would think so. So, you got to wait for that, which is not that far away. I mean, if you're down $5 today, let's just say we close at 145, 143. I mean, then you're like another story away to be to 135, and then you're at a level where maybe you want to start to buy some Boeing. So I would just say let it unfortunately continue this momentum lower, and hopefully you'll be able to find a base. And then you could always wait for it to take the 50-period moving average, which is only 161. So you're not even giving up that much just to be patient. So I think Boeing is a wait and see story now, and don't need to try to guess the bottom. I think it will show it.
Here's one of the reasons why we're back to highs here this morning. Nvidia just taking out the highs. 136 comes and goes. 1.3% already for Nvidia. It was a pretty quiet end of the week for Nvidia itself. It was a little bit stronger than most, but Jensen making the rounds over the weekend was on Brad Gershner's podcast, talking about what Sharif is just going to mention here as far as these new chips are concerned, and the demand still off the charts. I mean, I saw there was a quote last week. Basically, he was saying that they can't keep up at this point. It's just insane for these Blackwell chips. And
I believe him, because Nvidia is basically taking all of Taiwan Semi's base output. And AMD can't even get their MI 300 and 325 and 350 even being produced en masse because Nvidia is taking all their demand. So there's got to be for a reason here. Also, separately, Wells Fargo chimed in here about the DGX B200, which is going to have 8 of the Blackwell chips all in one system. It's going to cost an eye-watering, Brendo, $500,000 per pop. And Wells Fargo says that that's positive news for them. As you can see, we're almost getting into those highs that we closed out at last time. I know on the 20th of June, we broke that 140 area, but we didn't close there, Brenda. We closed at 136. So the closing print here, the all-time high closing print, we're right there, 136 2/3.
I was just noticing, if you go to, this is the SOX, SOXX ETF, we're right here, right now on a daily chart. So big time levels to deal with, guys, for this group in general.
Yeah, that's one of the things we were mentioning in the aftermarket show. The SMH, SOX at key price levels for breakouts. Obviously, on Friday, look, you couldn't have lost going 135 breakout long on Nvidia, at least on the breakout trade. But the way that everything else traded around it, like there were some missed opportunities, because if you're looking at Nvidia and say one other stock like an Uber, then you didn't have Affirm, then you didn't have MicroStrategy, then you didn't have IWM. So it was solid, but unspectacular, couldn't even break through the even dollar, got to like the 80s. Now you're just clearing out above. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a long continuation as long as we're above 135. And even then, 134.80 is where you close, so maybe even give it some room. Another obvious level is just literally that peak at 135.80 here for Nvidia. That works out to the pre-market lows. So I'm going to be buying dips on Nvidia on the way to, 137 is the level on the daily of resistance. And then from there, you break that and you got 140. But yeah, I think the continuation that we're looking for, it being a Friday and not wanting to get too far away from 135, looks like it's going to be today. I don't know if I feel exactly the same about AMD. They had their event. It was not received all that well in terms of stock price. It filled in the gap on Friday, which is good. There you go. It filled in the gap on Friday pretty much to a T to get into resistance. But even if it were to break 170, I still think you've got some overhead resistance at 171.5. I think when this gets above 172, it'll be a little bit better. And if anything, a push into that 170 to 171.5, like it might be a fade in here, that 171.5 for me on AMD. It's still got some room to go after that debacle. That wasn't a debacle. It's just it was a reaction to the event more than anything else. It didn't really matter what they were presenting because they didn't wait for them to present anything. It's like they started the event and they just started tanking the stock, so it didn't matter what they were saying clearly. So I still feel a little bit bearish on AMD unless we can break the 172 level. That would be much better. But we're just gonna be buying dips in Nvidia today.
Yeah, I like that stock sell. I might actually get into some of that. I really, really like the space. I like all the stocks there. I mean, Broadcom at all-time highs. Nvidia, all-time high, 140.76, I believe. So we're getting close to that right there. But yeah, I just said, just let it base. I mean, we saw it on Friday there, 135, that level. Neil just talked about it a little bit, obviously, was not here. But, I like that. We don't need two of these out. I like that level. So if you can come back in and dip anywhere into here, even 130, now that we're off, we're writing the sticky note here. It's at 136. So, we're thinking a dip buy into 135 is possible. But now I'm thinking even 135.50, the 200 period moving averages right here. It's 920. There's about to be imbalances coming out. And it looks like Nvidia will probably be a bit. I mean, the NASDAQ is one of the only major exchange indexes yet to reach all-time highs. And that is incoming right now. I mean, you're just going to have to wait. Probably the end of the week, I would think. We can get back up there with Apple testing 230 right now. Google's going to be one of the next ones to go, so I'm waiting for that. But right now, Nvidia, yeah, dip buy opportunities galore. I think we see 140 maybe today. That would be all-time highs again. We talked about it. I said it last week Monday, that I thought we could get to all-time highs. Looks like we might be a day or two away. And it was down here at 123, 124. Look at the momentum it had all week. So carrying forward, man, it just, too bad it had a tough time with 135 on Friday. But, maybe it dips back in and we can retest it. Either way, levels are here now. So I wrote down also on the sticky note that we could wait for 134 down here as well. And then 140 is a strong possibility today. So there's a couple notes right there that I wanted to look at. So that's what I'm going to be doing with Nvidia. I'm just going to stick with this. I'm going to look at Nvidia because you know what? Last time we wrote down 170 on AMD, we missed it, blah, blah, blah. And then we got it at the end. So I'm not, if I focus on too many stocks, I'll miss some levels. So let's just wait to see what winds up happening with Nvidia. Still obviously on watch and going to be hopefully my number one trade today at some point. We'll be focusing on Nvidia and trying to catch it. I would prefer a dip buy, so I think that's what we'll wait for. Obviously into 130, 135, but it's very, very difficult, especially off the open. You've seen it I was even here on Friday, and I was just going to say it's always difficult off the open, and that's what happened on Friday. I mean, there's the dip into 133, goes all the way up to 135 basically, comes all the way back to 134, even lower than that, 133.70. So this is a recipe for disaster for me, right? So we'll wait to see what winds up happening on Nvidia. Let's base out, and we'll be more confident.
Uptick here for some of these Chinese ADRs. Once again, still under a ton of pressure, though. I mean, just out of the corner of my eye here, XPeng still 4.3%. NIO faring a little bit better, just crossed back below 2%, so 1.9 for NIO. But Chinese EV stocks specifically a little bit worse off. Here's Baba, 1.3. Just taking out the pre-market highs there. They were talking over the weekend about more stimulus. Mm-hmm. Again, didn't mention a number or a time frame, so there was a little bit of disappointment, I think, on that front.
Bang on. Finance Minister Lan Fowen emphasized the government debt and support for consumers in the property sector, but he was awfully vague about where the money would go specifically to the property sector, and for specifically which governments would be getting the funding. He was also very vague about the quantum, how much money, and that didn't leave the market with a good taste in its mouth, as the vagueness here doesn't really leave people with certainty. So down again we go. Let's see how the trade does today.
It's almost like they're just testing the water to see what the reaction will be, but not giving any details here. 1250 if you zoom out a little bit, guys. Interesting on XPeng, if we can get back up there.
Yeah, as you mentioned before, the EV seemingly taking more of the brunt of that news there. It's actually Baba that interests me at 111. I'll get to that in a quick little second, but XPeng down 4 points here. Look, it's got one of those, it's a bull flag. I know we've talked about this, like the descending wedge bull flag, and that's something that Michael was mentioning. So there you go. XPeng's got one of those. I don't like this the same way I would like to see, say Freeport break out of it. Let's be honest. But if it does break this trend out, I think it could easily go. Until then, it's resistance till it ain't. I sort of see the top of that as like the $13 level, though. So $12.50, it's been a key price, but that's 13. It's kind of like the top of the wedge, and it's Friday's high, and it's Thursday's high. So if XPeng isn't breaking 13, I think it's a short underneath it. If it breaks it out, fantastic. I think you've got yourself something. Alibaba, the corresponding level for me, is just going to be 111. So Thursday and Friday, double top. Go back to Tuesday, you had the same thing, a 111 top. So we've challenged that level 3 times. Each time it's been the absolute, almost to a penny high of the day. There was one break on Friday by a few cents or so. It did really break 11. I think it got to like 7 or 8 or something like that. But until it clears through this, I think it's a short up there on Alibaba. Always a potential breakout. I think if it gets through like, call it like 111.25, that would be a break reversal type trade. But no, I want to be shorting BABA back into that 111 after what it showed me. If we're just going to play the sideways game, then you want to make sure you're buying support or shorting at resistance. And if you're thinking that we're in a consolidative state here, I just feel like, there's still a lot of profit takers that might not have already taken some. And if it doesn't break 111, I'd look for more of it.
Yeah, so I wrote down, we'll check the imbalances in a second. I just wrote down here FXI. So I felt like that was going to be something that we'd want to trade. 33.50 as a short sell, 33 flat possible, but that's just broken right here. So I think that this is going to be a decent one. FXI. Let's just watch it. 33.90. I mean, we haven't moved, so I guess we haven't broken 33. We've started underneath it. So this could be a level. We are waiting to see the 200 period, of course. That's going to be 33 flat. So I think you just play this. I mean, instead of waiting for this break at 32, I almost think it's a short here to start with. So why don't we just wait to see what winds up happening here with FXI here today. I really like, anything up here I think is fantastic for that short. I mean, it's a nice move up and then a triple top there on Friday. Like, you have to be looking at that, I would think, and a nice move there for FXI. So we'll wait to see. I do think about a short here in it. I have it up, but I'll probably change off of it. Google all of that on watch as well. All right, so let's just quickly look to see what's going on with the imbalances right now. Nvidia coming through as a sell. So yeah, that's starting to not really do much, but it does go down there into 136.30. Let's just find out. There's SoFi, so SoFi does hit a sell again. We get a little bit longer there on that sell. Uber also a sell. That could be another name that gets looked at there today. Uber's not doing anything on that sell, but so pretty light there today as we look. GRTS, I don't know what that is. That's a 5-cent stock. Yeah, have your grits there. TSLA, okay, so that's a Tesla long. I should have noticed that. This is a Tesla stock there that you can trade. Inverted, so we'll have to wait to see what that's doing. Oh no, sorry, that's a TSLL is not inverted. That is let me just double check. That's the long, right?
It's obviously the bull.
That's why it's L there. Yeah, bull. Okay, so TSLL there. So there's a sell on the bull of the Tesla there. I guess $9 name. So we'll wait to see what happens there. But not much to go here off the open with only 2.5 left. We're done. That's it. China weakness. So all right. So we'll get a little bit of an update from Sharif. What's going on the midday show, of course. I just saw Joe, so I know he's ready to rock and roll there as well. Let's just check out what Tesla's doing quickly. That was a name that a lot of you are looking at. Oh, no, we have a bad wick, so I will have to edit this one right now. But if you look to the left while I do this, the stock right now is at 220. So I'll just get this out in 1 second. And remember, there it is. The chart is fine now, Fabian. As you can see, you'll be able to know that this is SSR. So as Neil mentioned, we were down that 10% at one point on Friday. So the stock could get a little bit of a bounce on that. But right now, NASDAQ showing a bit of weakness to open up. Still up half. Let's not forget about where we're coming from, though. The NASDAQ trying to take out all-time highs, which is still a ways away. So we're not there quite yet. Tesla right now, 220 incoming. All right, let's go find out more about that midday with Sharif.
We're talking about average true range, Sean. Specifically, we're going to talk about using ATR to get those trailing stops in order. So if you're into that kind of thing, check that out with Joe and I on How to Trade at 11.
Thank you very much there, Sharif. And well, because you mentioned Uber, on the off chance it does some kind of a dip back in, I just wanted to point out the opening range support was at $84. If it doesn't, look, I like continuation play here on Uber. Tesla was down, essentially reaction to the robotaxi event or cyber taxi event, and Uber was a rocket ship. 82.25 was that breakout because it was the all-time high. But 84 is where you put in that lower high. So if we're going to get some dips in here, I do want to respect that. There was something else I feel like. Oh, yeah, Apple. That was about the only thing that we didn't get to that I wanted to. So Apple still 220, like 227.5 has just been like supply zone for the stock. So if we get down there, I'm on the bid for a dip buy at the 227.5. If it breaks 227, I think all bets are off there. And then it still sets up that 230 break. So Apple looking dip buy, already sitting on the bid there. We mentioned Tesla, Nvidia also trying to bounce off VWAP. Yeah, that's about it. We went over SoFi as well, and Mara's making some moves along with the rest of crypto. It is Monday, so the first bell of the week. Happy Thanksgiving in Canada. Let's ring it in 3, 2, and 1. It doesn't matter. The market is now open.
All right, here we go. Tesla right now, 220 coming through. Watch out for SoFi's back into 950 right now. Google's moving around a little bit. Nvidia not doing a whole heck of a lot. Here comes SoFi. So we're going to look for, there's the 200 period at 930 right now for SoFi. So let's watch out for some of that and buy a little bit more down here on SoFi.
Yeah, so immediately Tesla goes underneath that 220 level. Let's see if it can do the other part of an SSR bounce, which is the bounce part. So wait a minute, that's still Apple. Okay, Tesla underneath that 220. Yeah, there's no immediate rebound here on Tesla whatsoever. So far it's headed down to that 215 support. Nvidia is at 137 already. Wow. Okay, so if you want to buy dips in Nvidia, we're going to have to pick some new targets, obviously, as it's about to break this 137. About $250,000, it just broke the 137. I'll look for a dip off of a break into the pre-market highs. Hit that like and subscribe, because every time you do, it looks like Nvidia makes a new high.
All right, so right now we do have SoFi. I'm buying that one. We should have been all over Nvidia there, breaking that other level. That's a big mistake. I was trying to watch SoFi, which is fine. But there it goes right now. Nice move up for Nvidia. I mean, breaking that smooth dollar. Wow, good level there, up through 137. It's just touching as high as 137.50. We want to say happy Thanksgiving to our Canadian viewers, and thank you so much for joining us. Maybe your first time today, hopefully not your last, as we will trade these markets and hopefully aggressively if they give it to us. There it is. We're more shares now. We'll go a little bit down here for a little bit upside now for SoFi as we just took more breaking through that level of 950. So we'll wait for it. Let's see if it goes. We let it breathe a little bit here. 960 was just the 50 period moving average for that. We were able to buy a little bit of it. Okay, all right, got some out at 54 there. Oops, we don't necessarily want that. We're long at 50s right here on SoFi. So let's see if we can get them more out. That's just the 50. That's VWAP. Sorry, right now for SoFi. I have some higher ops. Right, if we can get this 50 period, we'll take some more upside right there. We're offering 57s and then 64s. Let's see if there it goes. Nice trade right now for SoFi. Let's see if it continues higher. I mean, Nvidia, we called 40s, so I don't know why we're not long 37s. But wow, we are now ripping. It's a big trade alert right now for SoFi. Right here, right now, live on air. SoFi continues to rip. It's a big one, trust.
Yeah, I just got back through 950. Well, I like the same levels. We were talking about that pretty much all morning. It dipped into a previous support level. I just got to the 65. I took some out. So Tesla does hold 220 and just broke out that pre-market high in there. I'm giving it back underneath the 220 level. I still have that wick, so unfortunately, I'll try to get rid of it the same way Sean did. But if we lose 220, we have to jump out. Nvidia is now gone. It's at 138 on NVDA. So in terms of looking for a dip buy, I'm sitting in front of the 137 or pre-market highs. We'll have to maybe shoot for another target, as this is absolutely churning to the upside on Nvidia. Pretty much nothing stopping it as we speak. Apple might take the 230 level. I like to dip buy in 227.5. I'm still taking a 230 break here on Apple. It's about $0.50 away from that breakout. So the market's flying. When you're making highs, you're going to have some breaks through the top. It looks to me like Apple's going to be the next one. Brendo?
Just watching Upstart, guys. Nice start for Upstart through $50. Just came and went there in a hurry. Wedbush upgrading Upstart to neutral, raising their price target to 45 here.
Oh boy. I mean, I wasn't sure what one was going to be number one trade today, but I mean, this SoFi trade, guys, is huge. So we took, a big position for us there in SoFi, and it was on the sticky note here. It was a big trade. I was in it early. We were in it from the jump just to be in it. Let's see now. We did have some problems up at 985, 990. So we'll see if it can get going. Remember, there is a 17% short float on SoFi. So that's going to be a level that we're going to hope to get to back into the 80s. I actually have an offer at 94. Let me see. I mean, we're right here right now. We can get another piece out. I just don't. I want to still be in this, but still at the same time be able to take some out. We are still well in this one. We do have a breaker 1.9 right now on Nvidia. So here goes Nvidia. We are long on this one now at 0.5 as well. So let's see what winds up happening with Nvidia. Hopefully this continues higher. Oh boy, man, I don't know what kind of opportunities we missed there on Friday. We talked about those, but right now today, multiple opportunities today. SoFi is, for me, is monstrous, and there goes Nvidia. We just took some out. We took some out at 20s twice, so we just got 20s there. 2 fills there at 138.17, out a little bit there, but it's really SoFi that's setting my net on fire right now. So let's wait to see here. Nvidia trying to hold 138, but we're long SoFi, and that one's working out.
Apple also, when Nvidia broke 138, Apple just took the 230 level, got 06s on the way through. That's less slippage than we were getting on Friday. I'll tell you that much on breakout trades. So it continues to churn higher. It's going to try to get through that 231 level next. It's a blue sky setup for Apple until you get to $233 essentially. The SSR bounce on Tesla, I keep wanting to say SoFi, I'll get there in a second, does not hold on to the 220. Got to wait for 215. Now this is right back into the downside when the market is making some fresh highs. So still in just the 2 long positions. Mara did not break out. Obviously, we're talking about Uber to dip by, but it's not doing anything, so no need to rush over into that name. Boeing, just wanted to quickly update on Boeing. This was one that we wanted to look short off of the 150 level. Boeing's not getting to 150 today. Boeing's at $146 and about to break the low of the day. So in order to pop and fade, you actually have to pop to the upside in the first place. Boeing down another 3 points. So Apple continuing to go, just got to the 31s. Get some out at the 31 levels. It just rejected a 31 break. I think 233 very possible here for AAPL.
Apple's going crazy over there. All right, so look, we love Apple, but we had written down here on the sticky note that we liked Google today as well, but it didn't dip by at all. We wrote down 163. Actually, I guess you could have had a 163.40 there. That came into play. So we'll wait to see if it does pull back at all. I don't know if it's going to. So we'll wait for that one. Nvidia, we're just letting it settle down. We'd still like to get a few more shares if that can happen. The other trade was the NASDAQ or FXI. Let's have a quick look at that to see what's going on with China names right now. Okay, so yeah, it is starting to fade out just a little bit as the U.S. market goes higher. We'll have to wait for FXI. Looks like it might want to take this level 33.70 there on FXI. I don't know, man. I would have loved it to have gotten short up here at 33. Now we have to pay this price. If we want to get short, I don't know, man. Breaking lower here on FXI. We have to wait to see. We're going to try to hold on to SoFi, see if we can get some more out there in the 70s. Hopefully that can go there. Comes again right back up. We should not ignore it this time, but let's let it breathe just a little bit here on SoFi. We have about 40% left of that one. Did we just get some fills on Nvidia? No, but we must have got, oh, we did. We got a 30 fill there. Okay, my bad. So we got some out at 17, then some out there at 30s there on Nvidia. I'm like, why are we getting lighter on that name? We don't necessarily need to be that. We were waiting at 77. It goes to 73. So let's take another little piece out here. There it is. We'll punch out there at 70 on SoFi and let it run now into 77. So, I mean, I'm just going to stick with these names right here. We're a lot lighter on Nvidia than I thought because we did get that fill, but still looking for some more upside there as Apple continuously climbing through the roof there as well. So I might short FXI, might be the next play.
Yeah, you're seeing some strong. I mean, the market's absolutely flying. I looked over at Uber potential continuation play. This is it's not tanking, but down 1.5%. Just broke through that pre-market bottom. I think we are maybe headed toward that 84 level. The market's strong. Not everything else is going with it. Double check back in on Apple here. Trying to get, okay, I was sitting on the offer in front of 231.40. Thought the $0.50 was going to be next. It just ran into resistance at the quarter mark. So Apple still going, still looking relatively strong, but just running a little bit out of steam in front of the quarter mark. I'm going to get another leg out here, be left with about a third, and then try to work to see where the lower high is going to be. Like at this point, for a continuation play, VWAP is nowhere close. You have the 230 breakout price, or if it tries to consolidate somewhere else, we'll just play it by ear here on Apple's. It's looking very, very strong. Oh no, R. Moore just said Palantir. Did it break 45? Okay, no. Palantir, not quite at the $45 level. If you remember on Friday, it kind of double topped up here, 44, almost 44.5. So 45 I thought was going to be in play today, but forgot to go over it. So thank you very much, R. Moore, in the chat for reminding us about Palantir. About to break Friday's high, but 45 still looming for them. Trying to remember what the all-time high was. I feel like it was 45 something on PLTR. I'll check that one when we get a chance. But first things first, yeah, SoFi got to that 980 level. Sorry, 975 again, and now back underneath VWAP. I just took it on the way back up through 950. If it can't hold on to 45s, I'm going to jump out of this. I need to find a way to get some Boeing short. I feel like that was a big missed opportunity.
All right, new trade alert. You guys have asked for that, so we're going to hit it right there. We are in FXI, so it does break through 70s there. We'll go short. We want to try to hold a little bit of this, obviously, here. But I'm going to bid some 60s and then some 50s and then hopefully a little bit lower. So right now we're short at 68. We tried to short. I actually missed the 70. As I was sitting here talking to you guys about it, it was at 70. And then by the time I punched into it, it was at 68. So here we go. We're bidding some 61s. Hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit of that one and let this breathe a little bit now to the downside. If we're going to be right about this, let's be right and let's make a trade. So now we're going to wait for that one to see if it can come back in for us on FXI. Just some of the Chinese names. I haven't even looked at them as an individual yet. Just prefer to trade this ETF right here. Yeah, Bob, a downside. Okay, so I think we should be okay with this right now, so we'll hold on to it. Okay, so we have 40% of Nvidia left, but where is the out? So we'll have to look at that now to see, because we are kind of barcoding 3770, 3780. It looks like to be the bottom there for Nvidia. Not really seeing too much happening on that, so we'll wait for it right now on Nvidia. Maybe a little bit of a dip down into 137.50 could be possible. There, of course, comes SoFi. So we're going to have to wait to see now what is going on with this name. But bouncing off of 950, another possibility. I still like down here into around 930 if that can come through for SoFi. That's not a horrible play either. Maybe it's Nvidia that we have to have our mind on. I wanted to look at Google still. We were going to look at the NASDAQ, but that sort of took off a little bit on us too early here. So, yeah, just sort of mixed up right now with what we want to do in the market. I mean, Nvidia is still not giving us a clue here. So maybe you'll dip by on SoFi, but we're not there yet. 940 or so for that one. Brendan?
I mentioned this one in the pre-market, guys, just starting to get going here. Big Bear AI, 10% now, just took out the highs if you missed it. $165 million military contract coming through for BBAI.
What the heck? XPeng is about to go SSR.
Boom.
XPV, it's down 9%. That's looking rather nasty. Like, yeah, no, seriously, like it's going to go SSR. So Alibaba, which I liked short, look, VWAP is going to sit right in here with the pre-market low, 107.70. If we pop back up to that, we're not going to get 111s. And if 111 happens on Alibaba, obviously something crazy has gone on. I want to look short back into that pre-market high on Alibaba. Apple's still holding on to support up around the 231 level. Low, there you go. So there hasn't really been a big pullback yet on Apple, still climbing higher. I want to see that $0.50 and then the 232 level hopefully next for Apple, but there hasn't been an obvious spot to do any reloading. While Nvidia is going higher, AMD, by the way, is, I mean, it's about to break the low of the day. So distinctly weaker here are advanced micro devices. It's just gone red in here. I feel like this should have been short, but it didn't get close to 170. It doesn't matter. It got to 169. So we're just still in the two names, looking to short the pop on Alibaba into VWAP, provided we can even get it. And Boeing, it's just going to take some patience to get Boeing. If we want to be short that one, I don't know that I want to stare that one down when it's a fresh low. So Alibaba just printed the 40s and is now churning into VWAP.
Yeah, something's going on with China right now because FXI just went crazy.
That's the same wick. Something's happening here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so we'll see. Brendan's over there, so we'll get this. Right now, China going up. Look at this move up here for FXI. FXI was just down, by the way. Pretty nice. Well, now it's really bouncing around. All right, I'm going to try to take a shot up here on FXI, not knowing what's going on. So this is blind and maybe stupid trading, but we'll wait. It's really bouncing around now, so I feel like definitely
there's like a program buying right now on all the Chinese.
Yep, definitely something going on. Sharif has it. We'll get it in a second here with Brendan. But right now, China going upside right here. But you know what else is going now is SoFi. SoFi right back into its open market highs again. We get that. Oh, wow. We get that fill there at 77 right now. So let's wait to see what's happening right here with some of these Chinese names as they're going nuts. So we'll wait. Brendan will have it when we get it. to you, we will have it. I'm still looking at SoFi and then Nvidia trying to make a move right now. So it's better to settle down and figure this all out. But right now, that's what we're doing. Nvidia falling back just a little bit. Into VWAP would be fine, 137.40. But I don't really know what's going on here. So I guess we'll have to wait. All right. So that's that. BABA going nuts, China going nuts, SoFi really starting to go as well. So, all right, we'll go over to Brendan.
I mean, some of the EV names specifically popping back up, Chinese EV names popping back up on note from the EU on a deadline through October for some tariffs. But I mean, some of the e-commerce names also flying back higher, guys. So not entirely sure that's the whole story, but we'll keep an eye out for more from China.
Yeah, I mean, the opening range got broken right quick on Alibaba.
Yep.
Like the second I got into position and didn't even have my stop set through a VWAP in there. Let's go to, no, you have something now? Let's go back.
Yeah, 6 trillion yuan in treasury bonds coming through from Cation apparently. So yeah, they're talking 6 trillion. Remember we mentioned they were discussing on the weekend new stimulus. They didn't mention a number. So it looks like 6 trillion yuan possibly could be that number, guys.
Okay, so there you go. So we knew something was going to happen there. So we got a little piece out there on, I mean, we're not trading that much of it. It just came right back into a level that basically we're short at here. We're short in the teens on this play. So I think we can wait for a little bit of a push down. I mean, we definitely want to make sure that we're able to get a downside push on this. But I mean, maybe that's a lot, maybe that's not. I don't know what they were really expecting there. So we can wait. I mean, that high was 33.60 to see if we can break that. So if you're going to look at an ETF, I mean, it's just so funny. Like, I'm never really in this ETF, and then all of a sudden this is what happens. But that's why we're in it. We knew that there was going to be, not we knew anything, but you know, this has been a play in the Chinese space, and it looks like it is starting to get going back up to the upside right now for FXI. So that short might not be good. All right, but what is good right now is by far the banger here, and that's going to be SoFi. This was a level that we had written down right here on our sticky note, 950. It's written here 950. Where are we long? 950. So, I mean, for me, that's everything. So this is what we're doing. This is what we're trying to do. Taking trades that we believe in, trades that we like, and that's a good one for us there on SoFi. So let's just continue to ring the register now at 985. SoFi's been fantastic.
Yeah, by the way, Bitcoin is making a big rally. It's through 65,000. Mara hasn't broken 17. MSTR has yet to break out this 225.50. Which was the opening range top there. I don't know which one's going to come first. My guess is it's going to be MSTR breaking before you get any break here on, why does that go to Intel? Before you get any break here on Mara. So I do like both of them. 17 is a clean, obvious level. I got one out left before we get to 10 on SoFi. It did a wick shimmy underneath the 950. If it gets to $10, I want to be some out in front of the 995 level. I feel like it's a breakout trade at 10, which is its own trade. So I want to look for like a secondary entry off that 10 level. Apple is now going into the first dip buy since challenging that 223, 230 breakout. VWAP's going to sit at 230. That's an obvious level to look for a dip out in front of VWAP, out in front of the breakout price. But until it gets there, I'm open to there being a higher low. It's a stronger move if it puts in a higher low, obviously. So Mara or MSTR. Mara at 16.8. MicroStrategy. Yeah, MicroStrategy is going to get there really quick. MicroStrategy looking like it's going to break almost any second now. Let's see if this one can get back into the upside. Crypto doing a power move past that 65,000. Yeah. You don't necessarily want to be fighting that. And yeah, we talked about Palantir in that 45. That was something I actually just forgot about it. But pulling back into 44 even. So it needs to hold VWAP and consolidate here if there's going to be some kind of a challenge and continuation trade. If Uber is not going to continue, maybe a Palantir continuation instead.
Yeah, I like Palantir a lot, as you guys would know. All right, so I mean, for right now, it looks like Nvidia is just going to hold this. It does bounce off VWAP there. We went over to it and we didn't take it. You know, we were worried about what that China news was. It seems like it's going to be obviously nothing to do with Nvidia or anything like that. If anything, probably helps out Nvidia. I don't know, just more stimulus over there, more in the economy, more for businesses to rally with. So I could see that doing something. I'm just going to now just play off of the name that we have, right? And that is going to be this one. and just make sure that we have the right stops on FXI. So just looking here, I think if we break this top, which we've sort of been bouncing around near 3360, 3370, then that would be an area of concern. So, you know, let's try to make a trade here and see if we can get it. 3325, it's not a great spot for us, but we're short that. I mean, we just, like, look at this. Like, it just came back to basically flat for us. Like, it just went to 3330s there. So it could flash around, but it could also flash higher. So our first out was pretty good. We actually, that's our first out right there, breaking through the VWAP in the first place. That was fantastic. So we're learning our lesson here. That's why we're not trading a huge amount of shares with this. We've just sort of started FXI. I wish that this news didn't come through while we were in position, but now that it's there, it's creating some liquidity. So if we have to lose on it, we'll do that, but we'll just come back and reevaluate if it breaks this top here of 3370. News can pop out of nowhere. It's how you trade it that matters. All right, so there's SoFi. I mean, Nvidia is going right back up, putting us back into a winning position. Let's take out some more SoFi. So there it is. We'll take some. Did I get that fill at 87? I believe we do. Well, obviously, we did now as it goes through 88. So there it goes. Nice play here for SoFi, man. Again, it's right on here. And so is Nvidia, but we had to pay up for Nvidia. So hopefully that can continue to go a little bit higher now. Back into the high of the day would be nice, 138.40s or so. A breakthrough that would be real great. But right now, FXI, my latest position, and the one that's in trouble. So we can watch out for that. But Nvidia's going. So everything's going fine other than China, which what a surprise. All right, so yeah, China right now going upside for me when we would prefer it to go down. But there it goes, man. Again, once you get different news, I mean, especially this is why people are looking at FXI. Is for this news. All right, there goes Nvidia, there goes SoFi. Boy, oh boy, today is another one. So cheers to everybody.
SoFi just got to 91s. I was sitting at 94. I'm going to cancel that order and reevaluate it. About the false break on MSTR. It was a big one on Friday, but today doesn't look like it wants to go. What's weird about this, though, is it just pulled back. I was long 50s, and when it broke 50, 225.50. When it broke 225 back underneath, I got out. But Mara is trying its best to hold on. So weirdly, Mara somehow is stronger than MSTR, which is not usually how this one goes. So I'm long at 01s here on Mara. It's this prior high. I want to give it back into underneath, 16.9. So we'll give it, it's about, I mean, it's 11 cents plus slippage, whatever that ends up working out to be, can't guarantee. So call it 10 to 15 cents worth of risk. I'm not on the offer yet. I'd like to see where first resistance shows up above the $17 level, and then we would go from there. Boeing, we still want to look for shorts in Boeing. I just have not found a solid entry point into the short on Boeing. It just got to VWAP and pulled back, so it's got a lower high. For the first time, it's actually doing something which is showing some kind of a setup to the short side. So we wicked above VWAP, got to 147.80, now putting in a lower high on Boeing. I'm going to take my first crack at this, giving it to 148. Next available pop over VWAP, take some money fills, I think, over VWAP on Boeing. So this one should have been, I mean, if you had it at the open, you could have just taken a false break at the pre-market highs. Unfortunately, I was waiting for 150 level on Boeing. That was $1 higher. We didn't get it, so we have to join the trend somewhere else. It's going down while the market's going up. I feel like it should still be shorted. And I want to chase it, don't want to chase it. I want to play off of this level in here. So next available pop, it's a strong market, should be able to carry this up at some point to get the offer.
All righty then. Yeah, so everything's going great other than the China names. So we'll have to just wait to see if that can settle down. It will be a fine day, just that comes out of nowhere. But look what's happening right now. It's Nvidia, and it is just climbing. It's climbing. It's a great stock. We love this name. I mean, I don't think the AI trend is going anywhere. I want to say a big happy Thanksgiving to both of my parents. Was unable to see them this weekend because we went up north. So happy Thanksgiving to you guys, and thank you for watching. She asked me, what kind of a hat am I wearing right there today? So, all right, and it's been a cash cow on a couple of these stocks, including, I mean, not on China. We'll go over on that one pending. Looks like it may break out against us right now. But look what's happening with Nvidia, man. This has been a big one. Let's go this one. When you have diamonds bigger than your head, I mean, this chimp is doing pretty good. That's not one of those chimps from Chimp Crazy, though. Okay, so there it goes. Nice upside play there for Nvidia. And again, when you believe in something, you have to take it. I was saying this last week that I thought Nvidia is going back up to 52-week highs and all-time highs. And that's exactly what it's doing. I think we could probably break that today. 140, 46 or something like that for that play on Nvidia to get to all-time highs would be really nice. All right, more outs, man, and this is what happens. Like I keep saying, you're trading more shares, you can have more outs. And there it is, man, 990. So another out up there. We'll hold on to a little piece still. We've got about 25%, so we're trying to hold on SoFi for this one and see if we can get through that $10 mark. But again, with a short float right now on SoFi of over 17%. I was actually just looking at it. What I want to look at was Upstart as well. We can look at that one in a minute, but Upstart's short float right there, 33%. SoFi, come on down, China. You're the next one to go red, hopefully. There's SoFi. Oh, what am I doing? Sofina. No, SoFi. Right there. We'll check out that business. 18%. So that's the short float there on SoFi. Seems to be helping the stock continue to go higher right now for SoFi. All right, China. All right, man. We're feeling a little bit better about ourselves right now as we have some play here on China. So let's see if that comes back in right now. It just touched out for the 60s. We're looking for a fade now on FXI.
Yeah, I can tell you, Babo was nasty when that buy program came in there. We had it to 104.80, and then we had the short underneath the 109 that broke out. It still hasn't gone to the 111 level. So I do like that 111 still for resistance, but that was a buy program of epic proportions. Now you're getting at least a little bit of weakness back underneath the 109. So going to look for what seems to be the trend reversion here on Alibaba. Whoops, let me draw it in here for you guys. I just had this drawn. I've got to draw it again for you. So there's your low. There's where it was connecting. It's essentially closing underneath. I want this one to calm down a little bit here, and then we'd work back into a short. It is Apple, which is finally pulling, like I said, it's pulling right back into that 230 level. I'm still looking for VWAP in here. It's about 230.25. We get a bounce there, looking for a continuation play here on Apple. This was just a big resistance level from last week, like nothing crazy. Resistance for 3 days in a row. So I would suspect that's going to turn into a bit of a bid support here for AAPL. Just got to be patient for it to come back in to us. AMD's still looking relatively weak compared to these other chip names. And with the market at the highs and the chips looking strong, and AMD's about to flat bottom break this at 167. There's no waiting for 170 in here. Thought that again, like Boeing, thought this was going to be a pop and fade in a strong market. You want to wait for it to get to you. It's not getting there on AMD. At some point, just going to have to play this trend. But not yet. It's not quite 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, I think that's a good time. Half an hour's in, a couple of bars in that 15-minute, and then you can start working into things that are an adjustment from your key price levels.
I mean, what else are we supposed to do? I mean, there's Nvidia. We'll take it out, man. We'll take it out right there near 139. So it continues to go higher and higher. And again, another name that we really liked today was NVDA, and there we're out. So now we are out. So we get that fill at 80. Nice push. We'll take it again if it can continue to go higher. We're really making it on these two names today, man. SoFi and Nvidia has been a good little runner. All right, so we'll go. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Hopefully you guys didn't have too much turkey, because if you did.
Oh my God.
If you did, maybe you want to have a chicken today, but oh my God.
Oh my God.
All right, so this came back down, man. This came back down into 30. So we took a little piece out there as it fell back into our lap there on FXI. So we didn't want to take it all out in case it did come in, but look what's just happening now. So a little bit of a saving candle there to take out a little bit, but there goes Nvidia. We're long again. 139.06 right now on Nvidia. Let's just rinse and repeat it, man. I mean, this is what we're here for, right? Let's get some more out. So if this comes back up into 139, 20s or 30s, we'll do like what we did here. We got a bunch out, not a bunch out. We got out, I think it was 40% for 20 cents. Then we got a 30 or 40 fill. Then we got a 50 fill. Then we get an 80 fill. So let's just keep on seeing where this name wants to go. So it's Nvidia right now. It's already been a monster. Let's see if it can continue its ways. It's Nvidia. It's again right there. And not only that, when we wrote the sticky note down today, we wrote down 135 going to 140. So here it goes, Neil, and we've got it right now. It's a banger of a trade right there, twice on Nvidia. Now up, where first long was 138, now we're long 139 again. This is how you make multiple pennies and just getting in again and again and cycling through. So far, so good there as we go upside and downside right now on Nvidia. Only one move into VWAP. Now, wow. Now we are really, really starting to head up higher now on NVDA. So boy, oh boy, that one continues to go. I'm going to put an offer at 30, see if we can get that again, as we just went up to 50 and stopped. So right now, Nvidia on its way higher. And man, that was a pretty good trade there. We'll go salute to everybody and happy Thanksgiving across Canada.
Yes, sir. Happy Thanksgiving. Wow. That's a good treat there. No tricks, hopefully, but a bit of a trick here in SoFi. It just wicked the same high as a pre-market. I have not reloaded SoFi once, but it's got a couple of higher lows being put in here, so you got a bit of a trend forming on SoFi. If we lose this trend line, wait for 950. If we hold this trend, look for a consolidation into a breakout. So I like the consolidation play. It's up 8 points. You still have room to $10 that if you can hold here above 75, it can be an entry off 80, 81, and then play into that $10 level. But it's got to hold on to the trend line right quick here on SoFi. If we don't, I'll probably take a little bit out, wait for that 950 to reload, as we are going to Brendan, I believe.
I got you at 10 o'clock. Session highs coming into play right now. Just we didn't really recap it this morning in the pre-market, but if for anyone who's wondering, not a heck of a lot happening on the economic calendar outside of some Fed speak throughout the day. Today we already got Kashkari once, double dose coming up after the close tonight at 5 o'clock as well. Nothing significant came from that. Market, meanwhile, yeah, session highs as the guys were talking, 1 full percent to the upside now. We were discussing individually in the pre-market, if you're with us, Boeing as well on these job cuts. Trying to climb higher. If you missed it there, 6 trillion could be the number, 6 trillion yuan, that is, could be the number coming through as far as China stimulus. So, yeah, a bit of a reversal here, to say the least. 107 right through to 110 on Alibaba, FXI following suit. 0.37 here now, just. But if you zoom out, have a look at what happened on Friday. Nice reversal off 107, but we're right into some significant levels. Tesla, meanwhile, slipping. Just 0.2. Wait for it, it'll be 0.1. Trying to get back to session lows here, 218 trying to hold, which was that midday level from Friday, but not a heck of a lot doing for Tesla so far today. There's Bitcoin, huge green candle on the daily chart back above 65, testing highs from going back to the end of September this morning, guys.
All right, there's the bounce on SoFi through 975, so it looks like it is going to hold on to that trend. I'm going to look to add back in. Always got to remember to hit save after. So there is the trend support. If we lose it, you're probably headed to at least VWAP in there. We'll close underneath this trend line or a break of 970. And I'm going to jump out of SoFi looking for a new entry point to that. Apple it's still holding out. Not quite at VWAP here. Trying to play that patience game. It's still on the downward push. Do want to see it bounce somewhere before we can get that long over in Apple. And AMD is now, okay, it was about to break out, but right back into resistance for AMD. So AMD goes all the way to 167. It's back into the green now as the market is trying to recover. No break of the prior high here just yet. I still think 170 is a bit of a short zone there for AMD. Come on, get there, get there. That's what I want to see happen. Get us to that 170 level on advanced micro devices. Apple's already bouncing off VWAP. Feels like it's a little bit early. And that SoFi reload, just trying to get on the bid here in front of that 975. So a continuation play here for SoFi as we're trying to catch it in front of 975. Not going to chase it up too far. Still have an offer sitting in front of $10 here for SoFi as it continues to churn higher and higher. That $10 level is looming rather large. Alibaba, those Chinese ADRs on that, I guess, final stimulus number, this was the volume candle. Was already in, out, quick dollar hit, took the short off the high when it came out, and then played it back into 90 for more reasonable trade, but still, you're churning to the upside. 111 is the big level for myself here on Alibaba. If it gets through the quarter, I said I want to go long through 111 quarter, but until we get to 111, you're pretty much out in the air now. Got to wait for another dollar to short it, or it would have to show me some kind of a trend reversal. So got to be patient with Alibaba. Those Chinese ADRs absolutely flying to the upside. Speaking of upside, Upstart, this is one I believe Sean mentioned here, up 11% and still going. Highly shorted name. Feels like it's just a bit of a squeeze happening there on Upstart. I looked over, and a firm can't even get through that 48 level. So a firm no continuation into 50. It can't seem to break that 48. If it fails at 48 one more time, then it should just be a short at 48 like it was on Friday. Like that was a pretty clean short. We should maybe be looking for that one again if it can't show the strength that its cohorts are doing there in squeeze space.
All right. All right. So Nvidia did fall back in. I mean, we did get that fill there at 30s, or it was even higher than that potentially. No, we only got 30. So we got a 23 and a 30. So not overly crazy about that. We'll still stay into it if it breaks through 138, or maybe we have to even get out if it breaks 50 cents right now. Market nicely up, man, up 1%. Wow, this market is really cruising today. There it goes, breaking back up. You know what? I mean, this Nvidia seems like it won't stop right here, but I'm getting a little nervous at this 139, debating getting some out. You know what? Let's just put a stop at 138.50. I mean, whatever, man. We took 30 cents. If this breaks lower, then we'll get at 138.48. I can barely feel my hands, so I have to go and do something about this and get some more really super hot tea or something coming through very, very soon right now. All right, so 33.40, 33.50 again seems to be some kind of a magnet here for FXI. I mean, we can watch some of the underlying equities if we wanted to, but at the same time, I mean, I'm just stuck in this ETF. We've talked about that 33.60 as being potentially a level here again, but for right now, 33.50, 33.60, 33.80. These all looks very similar to me. I'm just going to use right here 70s as our out. We did get a relief candle back down. We're trying to almost get it again. We're short at 25s, so we're down on the stock. I mean, but the thing is that this was not really a big hit. It's just what we're down is holding. Like, this came into this level. We sort of weren't sure what was happening. I was going to play off of the close, and then Brendan gave us that news, and then we sort of zoomed back out just to see if we get a bigger look. Because, you know, I don't know what 6 trillion billion yuan actually means to that economy. Someone's going to, and then they're going to figure it out. And I'm just hoping they decide that's just a drop in the bucket. It doesn't mean anything. So maybe this is a push down here. We have our target. And if I'm going to be short at 25s on this name and give it to 65, I mean, that's 40 cents. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking for a pushback, you know. I do have a bid down here on FXI. Actually, the only bid I have is at 33 flat. But right now, we should put something at VWAP. So I don't know if it's going to get down there. But let's just put a bid now in and around VWAP, 33.20s. We'll put something, I mean, we'll get out of our 10%, like our typical 10%. If it falls back into 20, we'll get out of 10. We got out of 10 there for a little bit to stop the bleeding, and then we'll get out of another 10. And then it needs to get back into here for us to make any money. So let's wait to see if it can get back into $33. That's something that we will wait for. SoFi, we have about little less than 20% left on SoFi. But again, the way it's moving, I don't mind trading this through these levels. We'll just start to scalp it out a little bit. I am sitting here at 73. There we go, hoping to get a fill, and we do that at the 50 period as it just bounces off of VWAP. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Okay, here we come. Tesla's moving around, but here comes FXI. So let's see if this can come back in now a little bit and really start going. We're basically at our highest spot we've been at all day with this move down, but it needs to continue if we're really going to do anything. And oh boy, here we go again, man, as we stay true to what we're doing now. And there goes downside or upside move now on Nvidia. So if our stop was going to be at 50 cents, let's put an offer in and around 50 cents right now and see about getting a piece out there up to 139.50 for Nvidia. So far, so good here. Come on, FXI, man. I could just get out of this and be at a real nice day. But let's let this work to the downside. We said we're bidding 22s. If it stops here, that would be bad. We randomly picked that level. Hopefully we can get a fill there at 33.22 and push this thing back down. But it's been a good day over here so far. Let's see if we can keep it that way. But first, we need to get a bid.
So SoFi did break trend, and I jumped out of it when it lost that 70 level. Thinking VWAP would go, maybe get a trend reverse back into 950, but now it's going to start holding VWAP. Don't mind working off VWAP there. The early trade trend is gone, so look for a new entry here on SoFi. There's still plenty of room for it to head to the upside, so don't want to give up on it just yet. Apple, ooh, that's an interesting candle on Apple. So Apple just did this dip into VWAP, holding nicely, and then this rejection up here. I want to see it put in some green off of this 230 level, and then we'll reload that. Thank you for the super chat. We got a couple of super chats in here. Thank you for Christopher Mulligan. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. Mr. Westermeyer, I did see the email. Thank you very much. your email for Sharif Christmas gift idea. So I will not obviously like spoil that. I'll have a look at that and see if it's a good one there. But appreciate you, Mr. Westmeyer. All we ask, we appreciate the super chats. All we ask is hit that like, hit that subscribe, share with everybody so that we can have the best community, which we already do out here. So appreciate all of you. Yeah, and I'm sure Sharif will appreciate the thought there, Mr. Westermeyer. You want to be a part of that. So hit that like, hit that subscribe. I like this bounce off of VWAP here on Apple. I'll see if I can't pick some up. I wanted to make sure we're getting it on the back end of the trade, which would be where is it going to reverse that trend, look for the higher low offset trend, and then work back in to the upside. Tesla cannot seem to catch a bid. It's back down at the $215 level, which is where it bounced on Friday to go SSR, but still lower and lower and lower for Tesla. Down 1.25%. It's not looking very good there.
I wanted to actually add more to my Google position, but oh wow, Google is really
snowflake.
That thing is ripping. I cannot believe can you believe it bounces off 22s? Like we were bidding 22, and you guys saw me bidding it, and we talked about it as it came in, and I don't even want to change it.
Them 20s or 22s?
That's crazy, yeah, 22s, and it just bounced right.
But are they spinning?
Oh, they're not on 22s right now. No, right now they're on like 20s, I guess, because that's about the most it went down right now. But my head is spinning with it. So okay. Anyways, we want to check about Google. Let's just wait. I mean, I'm not going to panic and get out, but we could have got out right there as we give some back. Right, every time it goes back higher, we're giving back a penny. So. All right, there goes Google. We wrote this down on the sticky note as well today, that this was a name that we wanted to look at. I like this stock. I really like the stock. And again, trying to hold out this 50-period moving average again. Looks like it wanted to do that. All the bad news has to be built into this, right? Don't we already know about everything? Don't we know the DOJ and FTC and all these guys want to tear this name apart and do all the bad things possible to Google? Because, again, you can't have a very successful American company. So you got to be very, very careful there. You don't need to have too much of a monopoly with everything right there. But we'll wait to see what happens with Google. I still really like the long in this name and was debating buying some more today in the account because we did sell some Alibaba in our longer term account. No, it was not in the longer term account, in our swing trade account. So maybe we won't put that money to work. But right there, Alibaba is trying to bounce back. We sold some at 117 and change up into this area right there on the daily chart, which turned out to be great because the very next day it went to the downside. But we haven't put the money back to work yet. So right now it's just hovering around. We will buy some more Alibaba. I really like the stock. It's just got to come in at some point. And oh boy. Ooh. This is part of the reason why right now you may want to check. And we talked about buying names, and we always get asked questions like, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? Nvidia for me, man, is no longer a sell. I'm not selling ever again. That's probably wrong. At some point, I will sell some Nvidia shares, but no time soon as this name just continues to rock because I don't have any better places to put the money. I mean, right now, this is just a great name, a great stock. It's already going to be at all-time highs in just a matter of 1 hour, probably, as we'll break through that 140, then giddy up. I mean, what a dip by 120 a week ago, week and a half ago, 105 4 weeks ago. This name continues to absolutely rock. You know what, FXI? When we get back from Brendan, you better be 33 teens. So let's go see if Brendan can be some good luck on this one.
Little one, Sean, flying around. Tevogen, TVGN, 20.8 million on the float on this one. Popped up after the close on Friday on news it was going to share, apparently. Plans to share $1 billion plus revenue potential for its pipeline portfolio as of the week of October 14th. Hey, that's today. So TVGN with a nice pop again, 200% here.
200% is not a small number. That's pretty impressive. That's one I'm pretty sure Sharif will be looking at in the midday. But Tesla's at 215. Again, this is where it tried to bounce. Well, it successfully bounced off 215 on Friday, but it did carry through all the way to 214.5 before doing so. But this is a much more clean level here today. It is SSR. So if it were to bounce from here, I'm on the bid, and I'm really just going to give it to the even dollar. Trying to get these 20s in here. If it got to VWAP, I think you're more than happy with that on the VWAP bounce. Like, this is a very heavy stock. It tried to hold a 20 level early. It's trying to hold a 15 level.
Wow.
Currently, there's sellers here at the 35, which are doing a pretty decent job holding it down underneath. I still want to make sure we get ourselves a good price. Actually sitting at 13, not 20s. you know what, it's coming down. It's probably going to fill down close to that 213 level. All right, well, I'm waiting for this one to fill. If it breaks 15s, I'm out. Oh, there we go. We just got in, but why did my stop trigger get me out flat? 214.9. There we go. So Tesla right back in that 215. AMD already broke the low. We wanted to short 170 on AMD. AMD continues to flutter as the market heads back in. I have reloaded Apple in front of 230, but if it loses that, then I won't have any longs unless Tesla's going to hold the 215. So Tesla right at the 215. There's not a lot of size on the offer, but it is SSR. It would be through this already, I think, if it were not for the short sell restriction. So people can't hit that bid unless they're getting out of a long position.
All right, Brendo, with the good luck there a little bit anyways. Let's see if we can get some more downside push now for FXI as the bears are back in this name. And this is just something else that we're trying to do more of, right? We're trying to be right. We're trying to hold on to some names just a little bit longer. And right now, here we go, man. We are going to almost be perfect today. I mean, this name just has to go a little bit more. And we will go Nvidia with the, I mean, look, P&L number one by far is going to be SoFi today. And if you guys are looking, I mean, this is, you know, shameless self-promotion, but it's promoting the show. Oh yeah, obviously, by the way, look at this one. Stuffings and stocks right here. Trader TV Live, there's some nice pumpkins, some nice stuff going on right here. What's been your best stock pick of the year? Let me know right now as we tweet it out and tag at Trader TV Live right here on this gorgeous looking post right there. Thank you to my wife for putting this together here with our new fancy logo right there on the bottom. So attention to Brendo there. He sent me all the logos and said, make sure you use these logos. Oh yeah, by the way, thanks to Andre or Brent. I'm not even sure who did this, but there it is right there. A new banner. Who dis? 475,000 subscribers. I want to thank everybody else for, or everybody today for, you know, subscribing and making sure that you continuously watch the show. But go find that out. Oh, what I wanted to talk about there was SoFi. So I'm glad that this is the number one stock here for me today. It's exactly what we wanted to do. Play the dips into 950. I honestly, I mean, there's the dip into 950. So we have that trade. It was a good one. Looks like our best out here will be 17s so far on FXI. Let's see if it goes down. I'm going to still play with that same rhetoric here as saying that, you know what, now the market's has digested that information, whether or not it's the right amount or not. We're starting to get out a little bit now as that stimulus package is now released there for China. So we'll sit in these trades. I mean, I am bidding some more at 13, then at 01s, and then we'll be about half left. So if we can get something out again down into here, we are at the 50 period. We're breaking now through VWAP, and then we'll see about 30. There we go. Do we get those 15s? No. Sorry, we're at 13s. My bad. Okay, we already got 17s once. So we're going to wait for 13s and then hopefully 33, and then we'll get to the downside right now. As here it goes, man. It is a trophy day today. We're happy with what we're doing. We're not quite at our daily goal. I mean, we took a hit on FXI, getting some out early. Let's see if it goes back down, man. But another big day here. We'll have to wait for Nvidia. We got a nice out at 50. So we are playing straight with house money now. Like that was an out there for 50 cents. Our stop is 50 cents. If we break back down below here, then we can get out of Nvidia. So far, so good here as we continue, man. It is now 33.28 average price. We're bidding 13s. Lucky number 13 here on FXI. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, sir. And
Bitcoin,
by the
way. Ooh.
Bitcoin absolutely still holding that 25, but Tesla does not hold the 215. SSR bounce on Friday, obviously off of 215 the first time through. It was clean, and it got all the way back up in the 18s, 19s, 20s, but not today. It does not hold that SSR bounce. I'm now out of Apple. However, it broke 230. We reloaded off VWAP. Like, okay, we're going to give it back into that 230, but it's still holding on to VWAP, and the market's trying to hold on to VWAP. So I don't want to give up on the long on Apple just yet. It was a clean break through that 230 level, but it never really reverted that trend back in just yet. So want to be patient and get back into this one. But this first portion of the show brought to you by our friends at Trade the Pool, allowing traders like you to get evaluated and trade real shares using companies' capital. No PDT rule holding you back. That's how they give a true trading edge. Here's the exciting part. Trade the Pool has just launched a limited edition program to evaluate stock traders like you. For a one-time fee of just $97, you'll receive $20,000 in buying power. And all you've got to do is reach the profit goal. The best part of this limited edition program is that they have reduced the profit goal and the minimum trades required to reach the funded phase. And the profit split has been upgraded, so you keep 70% of the profits. You should definitely want to check it out. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description for more information. Shout out to Trade the Pool. We appreciate them. With the market coming back in here, Apple still want to have this one off of VWAP if we're able to get it. Underneath VWAP, wait for the gap to fill. 229.5, that was the opening range resistance. If we get that price, I think that's the next place to look for a long, or off of the bottom here at 228. For now, I want this one to round it off of VWAP there and see if we can't get into it. AMD still looking incredibly weak. Didn't really get to that 170 for any kind of a short opportunity, and it's all red since double tapping this opening range high. So just continuing to flutter here is advanced micro devices. Tesla, because I know everyone's interested in how far this one's going to head to the downside in terms of filling in the gap. It got to 213.74. That's about it. So it did break Friday's low. Unless you look at 210 here, there's that, and then there's the 200-period moving average. Feels like that's what you're headed for. So SSR balance no good today on Tesla as it's trying to hold on to the bid and not doing a very good job of it. But Apple is doing a better job, and it's back above the 230 level. So bit of a lick grab underneath here, but I want to see if I can't catch it on some more strength. It bounced the first time off VWAP, and we went long. I want to see it hold to 230, give me the consolidation here, and then I can add or jump back into position on Apple. Still only want to be long this stock until proven otherwise.
That's pretty funny. Again, China goes right down and sits at my level at 13 and doesn't fill. So I took a 16 there. I don't understand, like, there's so many shares going through here. So we'll just assume that it will come back in and give us that level there at 33.16 or so. Or sorry, we just got a 33.16. We need a 33.15 was a much bigger order. So hopefully that'll come through for us. We're now at 29s right there. Okay, what else you guys want to look at? Oil, we can have a quick look at USO. I probably got to get up and just get something warm at some point here. All right, so USO, a nice downside push into 75.50. Again, oil down 2% today. So something to look at for all you guys there looking at oil. But I think there's something to look at for sure every day when we trade a little bit of oil around here. But for sure today, as it's down 2%. So we'll have a quick look. Other ETFs like XLE continue to move around as well. Wow, $92. I didn't see. Okay, that's a nice move. All right, I was not expecting that one. I guess we were at 94 before. I guess that shouldn't surprise me. But this is a key level again. I was debating just getting out of some energy. I don't know if it's a value trap at some point. I mean, some of these names have been going up a lot right now, and they still do have decent-sized yields on some of those plays, like an XOM or something like that. There's been a lot of chase for oil, and I don't know if it's really been operating the best it could be considering the global environment that we have. So I'm not sure. It's kind of like what Michael was saying there a little bit about gold, although gold keeps going up. You know, it hasn't really performed that great as a lot have expected. Palantir has performed much greater than I could have ever expected and have been very, very pleased with what's been happening with PLTR. I mean, this has been a good stock for myself trading and, you know, for the longer term as well, as Palantir right now today makes brand new highs, brand new 52-week highs, 44.39. Wow. Can't believe we're saying 44 there on Palantir, but it continues to work out higher, man. Not as great as the market today, down 0.3 or up 0.35, but against the market 0.5%. So giving back a little bit there today, Palantir, as opposed to the market, but still a green day, which we like. And it's on the 200 period. So I would say you can almost go long using this 43.50 as a base for a little bit there on PLTR. So more to come on that trade. I do like that stock, but we'll have to wait to see where it gives us the fills down there at 43.40 as the bottom of the day. So sorry, 44.40. No, sorry, 43. Oh, up here we have 42.91. That's obviously not right. So let me just give it to you before I go to Brendan. 43.50 is the low of the day there on Palantir. So, you know, back into that, you could hold it. I think it might be worth a long in and around these levels. All right, let's go over to the desk. It's 10:23.
Yeah, a few small ones to touch on this morning. Small caps. I mean, SoFi's $1 billion market cap, so we'll include it. Nice day if you missed it. The actual news over here. $2 billion on a loan platform agreement coming through this morning from Fortress Investment for SoFi. So trying to test highs right now. There's also LBPH moving around. Once again, this is a buyout agreement that was reached this morning in the pre-market. So heads up on that. If anyone's wondering why on earth is this not moving, that is why. TVGN we touched on as well. Amongst others in this group, this TVGN back higher on this. Again, plans to share $1 billion in revenue potential from its pipeline portfolio as of today. So that popped up after the close on Friday on that note. XPON, reverse stock split. They're going to go 1 for 20, I believe, XPON to try and get back into the NASDAQ good graces, but back downside here today again for XPON.
XPON there, good look. And obviously not really trading many small caps, but one that I suppose is not the biggest in the world. Mara, 17 break, got out at 1690, so the breakout doesn't go. But look at the trend. It's holding on to trend, so it just broke a fresh high. I want to jump back into it. You're still above 65 on BTC. Appreciate it. Thank you, Brinkles. You're above the 50-period moving average as well here, so trend strong. Want to continue. This was on the note, looking for only longs in Mara. So dip into the previous trend and give it to 17 is going to be the next plan of action here on MARA. I'm pretty sure Bitcoin's at 65, almost 66, as a matter of fact. So still looking very strong over there. Apple did just hold on to VWAP. So it broke VWAP, lost 230. That was the only time we reloaded. It was just a breakout trade off the 230 level, but getting it on strength back here at 35. It's now getting through the next 30 penny move here. There was sellers at 80 when it bounced VWAP the first time. So in lieu of that, I'm going to get another leg out here in front of the 2380. Then look for the high of the day on Apple. Still a super strong name as far as I'm concerned. So Apple looking pretty solid here. I want to get back into that high of the day. Some of the names in Mag 7 land that we have not necessarily paid as much attention to. As the market's bouncing, Amazon's trying to hold green. So weakness over here in Amazon, not looking too healthy. It's this 190 level that seems like it keeps selling off here on AMZN. So AMD weak relative to Nvidia, Amazon looking weak relative to the overall market. Certainly a bigger, stronger move happening in Meta, which was at $600, but now back at VWAP. Actually, this is almost like 600 on a dime that it got to. So strength Meta, weakness over in AMZN. And unfortunately for me, Tesla decides to now bounce. So it challenges underneath Friday's low. I was only looking for the SSR bounce play. It might already be on it. So either sometimes you try to catch these back through the 215 like I was. Other times it just decides it's going to do it at some random level like the 214, although 214 is now held 2 days in a row, did so on Friday. It's just Apple that we're back into, so that's back into the 230.80 level. Going to hold for the highs. I want to see it break 231 again and get us back into that quarter mark. Might as well put something out there, make sure we get some profit. If it goes back above that 231, I want to make sure we're getting some out in that front of that high. If we double top it and break out the top, great. We can have another trade into what I think is the 233. 233 up here once, twice, OB thrice. We rejected on the daily chart here on Apple. So it seems a reasonable target to me if we're going to get up there. And I feel like that's got to be the spot. Bonkzilla in the chat, ARM on the upswing too. ARM is a spicy little meatball in here because the only chip name that I think is stronger than Nvidia right now is ARM. And as you can see, ARM doesn't have a red day going back to the beginning of October. Actually, check that. I think the first it was down. Every other day, this has been up. It's broken out on the daily, this 153. Availability of shares, a lot of times is the story why ARM goes so much, because there's not a lot of shares out there that can be traded. But super strong name up here, up 5 points. I think VWAP looks pretty good. It's got a bit of a consolidation that it's putting on right now. Great look, but certainly not one that I want to jump into when it wasn't part of the plan. Oh, AMD can't even get to VWAP. Way too patient on AMD shorts today, because you could have had this instead of waiting for it to maybe press into 170. Every time I looked over, Nvidia was higher. I felt like we're going to get that 170, and you just continue to churn lower and lower and lower. even as the market bounces VWAP on the NASDAQ and heads back to the top, AMD can't even press you back into the previous close and VWAP, which would be right in here in front of 168. That's the spot ideally I would look short. But if you can't even get that and we just consolidate off the bottom, maybe that's what I got to work with. You know, you can want the trend at the place. That's the thing. You can have a level that you want to trade, but then there's a level that the stock is going to trade. And that's what matters ultimately most. Like, I like VWAP. I like it for a nice little trend join. But if we're just going to hang out underneath 167 and AMD is going to be the weakest chip name that I can find, then this just might be one that I have to jump into the short at a price that we were not thinking about a little bit earlier in here. So again, just trying to be patient. But patience is something I'm running short on. Nvidia is getting back into the high of the day. And if we don't break this top and the market doesn't break the high, then I'm going to short AMD where it lies. And right now, that seems like the 167 level. Let me know what you guys are trading in right now, because outside of AMD and Nvidia watch in here, I am trying to pick up a little bit of Mara. But look at Mara start to go. Like, we never even got back in on that trend in Mara. And now it's at 17.5. Not a move that I'm interested in chasing up here, this 17.5. We'll have to look for that dip buy for sure. And code, you're right about it. Damn, we missed Tesla. The tricky thing about trying an SSR bounce or any kind of like big reversion trade in a stock that is falling like an absolute rock is you got to be willing to miss the trade to make the trade sometimes. Like, you're not going to have them all. Like, I tried it, but I had stop outs to make sure that I'm not just holding it forever. It does the bounce that I wanted, but I'd already tried it 3 times, and at that point, my 215 was my level, and it didn't really give me what I wanted off the 215 level. So unfortunately, Tesla's going to get to VWAP without me. Hopefully somebody's got that bad boy, because it's right back into VWAP and looking like it wants to continue here. Tesla could go green any second now, which if you told me that about 30 minutes ago, or 15 minutes ago, I guess it's more like 15, 20 minutes ago, I'd said you're absolutely nuts because it couldn't hold on to that 215 level. But now Tesla absolutely churning back into the upside.
Yeah, like Tesla. All right, man. I mean, look, I don't know. Let's go. I mean, if you guys want trades, look what Palantir's doing. We just, what was that, Fabian? Adjust the mic. Okay, there we go. Palantir. I mean, let's see if we can go 4 for 4 today, right now. So Palantir, huge move to the upside. Let's go. Thank you for that. There it goes, upside there for PLTR. Good movement. I mean, FXI is the only one right now that we just sit and wait on right there. But if you're looking for some trades, I mean, we talked about this. This was, again, going to be about, we talked about where that bottom was, 50, so about 20 cents. We'll scalp a little bit out. We're just trying to play some momentum to the upside. It takes the 50, it takes VWAP. And so let's get out one more piece again here if we can. We'll take another 86, so we'll just do that right now on Palantir. And then we'll wait to see if we can break back above 45 or $44 flat right there on PLTR. But let's take a little bit more out as we continue to climb higher on that one. SoFi, let's go again, man. More ringing this little siren there. As SoFi, I mean, why not? Let's take an opportunity to get this out again in around, you know what, I might just punch out. All right, let's punch out a little bit there. We'll punch out some 82 halves and get a little bit, because I didn't want to miss the 80. I offered 84, did not want to miss it right there, but oh boy. We'll talk about our days when we get back, but yeah, I am looking at that C battles right there. Let's see if SoFi does have that $10 target on it. We talked about wanting that target right on its back. All right, come on, Nvidia, if we can climb as well. Look at Nvidia, love that 50 period. All right, Brendo, it's Bitcoin, it's 66.
Yeah, just touched it. Working on it anyways for BTC. All of these, meanwhile, following suit. Yeah, all of the crypto-related names to the upside this morning. I just picked out Coinbase. Most of them looking like this. So big day on Friday. I zoomed out a little bit here, but volume, the story again, very, very active once again, 2 days in a row here for not only Coinbase, but most of these related. We touched on Robinhood a little bit in the pre-market there. Did gap up, is a bad chart, but you got to zoom out a little bit. Did gap up, but relative weakness, if there is any in this group, if you want to throw Hood in that group, coming Robinhood's way so far this morning. MicroStrategy, initial move downside as well, trying to bounce off 220 once again for MSTR. Yeah, I pulled up Tesla because there was an alert that went off there, but probably just went green. That's why. There's that high that we were talking about, end of September, coming into play right now. 65,887 currently, guys, for BTC.
Above 65 is the key. I mean, as long as it gets there. That said, and I didn't point out the, I'm going to get tomorrow. I'll get tomorrow first, and then we'll talk about what is not happening yet on Bitcoin. So Mars pulling right back in. I'm still sitting at the breakout area, but that was more like, it was breaking back above 17, and then you have a top here at about 13. So I want to look for this reversion back into the opening range breakout price, about 17.10. As long as we get some strength back in there, I want to look to continue long on them. If you talk about Bitcoin, it's just step one here, because we've been mentioning this trend, which is still unbroken, something that I know we've been talking about with Michael Noss as well. So you still have to get through here. A break of this trend would be like 69,000. And that's just to break the downward sloping trend line that you have over on Bitcoin in general. So I think it's a ways to go to be more than just like a very nice bounce play, I guess is what I would call it here on BTC. But if it breaks that 69, then I think you've got something going. So AMD did just come back into the 167 level. Again, it's been relatively weak. I said if Nvidia broke the high of the day, I wouldn't try to short this one. Nvidia went to the high and bounced off of the high. So 167 is going to be the out on AMD. Apple's still trying to turn back into the upside. Tesla's through VWAP at this point. So as clean as it was for an SSR bounce on Friday, it decided to put you through the ringers, and now it's just gone 14 to 18. That's the move you're looking for, but I got to have an out somewhere. You know, sometimes it's clean, sometimes it's dirty. Today was a bit dirty, but Tesla is now green on the session. Surprising, I have to admit. I thought if it was going to break that 15 for good, we'd see the 210 level come into play on TSLA. So got to watch out here. If Nvidia does clear through that high, I think it could drag AMD with it. But as long as we're underneath 167, AMD hasn't been able to get off the schneid yet.
Yeah. All right. So tough day on Tesla, but that's why I didn't write it on the sticky note, because I was like, you know what, like let's let this thing settle down. I mean, it's such a wild name, but it's a great day trading name. So I think that we'll definitely have to get back on that at some point there. Some people in the chat are just like, you know what, I'm going to go into my chill mode right now, and I feel like we're kind of in there right here. I mean, we nailed this. We're out of now 70% of Palantir. I mean, when it came up, and we got filled here when we were getting a coffee. So 43.80, 43.90 there, getting some out. And so our levels got hit. So we'll just continue to watch that. I was just actually checking, and DJT, again, a name that is not heavily traded here. Maybe on the midday show, it could be. But we'll wait. 6%, nice move upside. I was just double checking Sharif mentioned the polls. Now Donald Trump is actually pretty heavy favored there. Minus 130 and change on the gambling site. So, yeah, Donald J. Trump now. You'll be hearing Donald John Trump many times from Sharif, that exact thing. He'll be saying that, and we'll see if that can come through here, breaking higher. I mean, this is only a $12 stock about 2 weeks ago. And now you're up to $27 as we get closer and closer. November 5th, I mean, we're already halfway through October right now, so that you can believe that. We do have some more upside coming here for DJT, it appears, as it's up 7%, heading into what potentially now is looking, like I said, you know, we'll talk about this because it's a stock, but looking more and more like, according to the websites and the polls, that the conservatives may have that leg up now. So again, you know, as we all know, especially with election results, we can get back and forth polling on that. So it doesn't really matter until it matters. But you know what does matter? Money, Neil. And right there, Nvidia, right here, another one. We've taken like $3. Like we took, so all in all, I mean, obviously the move's only been, we were 138. Now it's at 139.50. The most we could have taken was $1.50. But we did it once there and then again now. So instead of just holding this position for $1.50, we take it, then we basically reload it again. We do reload it again there at 139. Same amount of shares. And now it's coming back up to the upside. So I'm just going to put an offer in and around 140. I mean, You know, if it gets up there, it gets up there, and then we'll just let it go. So here we go, man. We are at the highest spot we've been at all day right now, and that's because FXI is starting to come, whoopsies, I just closed the level 2, that I did not mean to do, is coming back into a level. Let's bid some 25s. We'll just bid a baby amount there because I really want this to fall down, but we do have to respect, I need to open up another level 2. I do need to respect VWAP, which just bounced again off of that. So it's a good thing we looked at it. At least I got an order out, but I did not get enough of one out in time. So hopefully we'll fill back in. I'm bidding some 27s. We're only short at 29, but you know, if we're going to do this dance, like we only spent basically 10 minutes, not even, underneath VWAP, and we did a great job to clear some out there for profits, 13, 14 cents or so, which isn't that much. But considering that we had a complete and utter change of tone with FXI. FXI was down almost 2% or so at one point down here, sub 33. I mean, in fact, we were short on that break and in the money 7 or 8 pennies, even more than that. It went down to 60s right there on that 70 break. So 10 cents, and then it popped, and then we got out at VWAP, and then we were like, oh my God, what is going on? But then I just saw like the level 2 kind of just expanding, collapsing, and so I was like, all right, there's definitely a story here. Let's try to play away, right? And then as it was settling down a little bit, we're able to find out this 3360 area by zooming out and just seeing that, hey, we've been up here before, whether or not it's 3360, 70, 80s. I'm going to use 60 or so as the out, so we'll have to wait and be patient with that one and see if it will give it to us or not there. So that's what we're doing. I'm hoping to get some more out down on the downside there of FXI, but so far so good. It's been a banger. Well, it's been a good day. I mean, I wish it was. I'm happy where it is right here today. So far so good. It's 10:40. We will have Joe and Sharif coming through right there today as it is Thanksgiving Monday right now. Everything closed in Toronto except Trader TV Live.
Well, you can still get a little bit of food here and there, but yeah, you had to make sure you did all your shopping for your festivities over the weekend, which we did, thankfully. So Mara, we did go back to AMD in a quick little second. Mara just bounced off trend line, dipped back into the previous breakouts. We like the 17 break. It broke 17 even, didn't really go. Look, obviously, I could have maybe taken, like, it got to 7s and 8s in there, was giving it to underneath the 10s, got all the way into VWAP, then the trend formed. So on the last breakout, we waited for it to wick and hold the trend line, jump back in at 23s here. Going to get some out into the highs. That's going to be $17.50. So obviously, every $0.50 pretty significant here for a $17 stock. So we get there, we're taking more out. AMD did the little wick shimmy dance. So it broke that 167 wick high, wicked it, got back in, was able to take profit at 166.75, which just double barreled here. So you're now starting to get a higher low support at that 3/4 mark. So there won't be a reload here. If it's not going to hold the trend, that resistance to even break this lower high, then I think it's going to get into VWAP. So got to take some profit out there. Make sure you get something in the pocket because all of a sudden AMD is looking strong. Crypto's looking pretty good, as we said. Apple, I mean, Apple's holding VWAP, but it never went any further than that 230.80 yet. So holding on to VWAP, we did jump back into that long, but it's still a little bit weak underneath that 231 level. At this point, Apple is just mirroring the NASDAQ. So early on, you'll see here the NASDAQ broke out, Apple broke out. This is a 15-minute chart, but you guys get the idea. You dipped into VWAP, that was this dip in here, and now you're consolidating on a lower high. So Apple pretty much doing the same as what the overall market is doing, which it tends to do. You know, that's basically going to be the story of Apple for most days. Tesla is still on one though, right into 218, 219. So like I said, the SSR bounce, you probably needed to somehow weasel in here on the other side of 215, but that's the same principle. I was doing it on green up here off 215, that didn't work out, and now you're above VWAP. Still believe this one, if it gets to 225, I don't think it's likely today. Still feel like 225 is a breakout price because that would be a heck of a recovery off of Friday's highs, filling in this gap in here. But we're just going to have to wait. My only entry for this was the SSR break. And we did get it, and we did miss it, and now it's all the way at $3. I'm not chasing the move in Tesla. Got to wait for it to trade off to 225. Brendo?
Nice green board, as we've been saying, right across most of the S&P 500, once again being led by tech names, notably up here. AMD kind of weak, down 0.5%. hard to see, but in there, that's Boeing, 2.3% off the lows ever so slightly, but still pretty ugly day once again today for Boeing on those job cut notes we were discussing in the pre-market. If you weren't with us, make sure you check us out, 8:30 every single day. Microsoft, Google, Meta, Nvidia, and Apple, all better part of 1+%. There was a positive note on Broadcom this morning and an upgrade to go along with that, 0.6 only for Broadcom. Qualcomm there, 1+ as well. Banks, nice move higher. JPM giving some back, notably after earnings on Friday. The rest coming tomorrow before we get started. Caterpillar here, notably weak as well. Negative note on CAT today, down 2.5, guys.
All right, I'm just going to post this for 0 days. Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to post this for 2 hours to see how everybody's day is going right here. So again, I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Stuffing in stocks. What stocks have you been going on this year? And we have Nvidia and Costco with a nice little response there. Oh, I can't vote on my own right here, but on this slow day, how's everyone's morning going? So let's go. We'll put this in here. I'll put it in the chat, and we'll see if you guys go over to @TraderTV Sean and let me know how it's going, and then we will reveal the results. I'll reveal them in the next 15 minutes, but we'll keep it up to 12 and then see how everything is going on that so far. So far, so good here. And we'll just wait to see where this market goes. I'm still on chill time right here. If you have any other stocks you want me to look at, I'll do that. I'm waiting for FXI to fall back in here. We just get those double fills. So we'll hit sirens because they're wins right there, but we'll go 4 for 4 today with this one pending. So SoFi with the absolute monster of the day. I mean, man, oh man, do we like trading SoFi there today. And it's really nice when it works out perfectly. And then there goes Palantir again. Let's go again. Oh, Canada, happy Thanksgiving. We'll keep saying it over and over again right there. We get another fill at 88 there for Palantir. So that's 2 for 2. And then there's 3 for 3 right now on SoFi. And then Nvidia, was the last one with really the big banger over here on Nvidia. So that's what we're doing so far there today on this side. But yeah, can you take a look at IMNN right now? I'll look at TQQs quickly. All right, so this one here, 77. So I had written down, just because it's just another name that's on the list that I didn't look at yet. All right, so 74 for dips, that obviously didn't happen. And then 75, I even wrote down 75 is going to be a good long if it holds. But the problem is that, again, we write it down here in the pre-market as it's doing this. And then this happens. So really today, the NASDAQ started going, and if you didn't have it early, then you did miss it. So yeah, not too bad there so far today. So I want to thank everybody for watching. We will end. Like if I get out right now, we'll be at the highest spot we've been at all day. But again, I don't want to. I want to wait and see if we can get some more love into this name that is FXI downside. So that's what I'm doing. Just hanging out with you, with everybody here, and hopefully putting on some good trades. How's your day been going over there?
Yeah, we're chilling, and Mara just got to another fresh high. I wanted to answer Vin's question. What's with Thanksgiving in Canada? Someone please educate me. It's the same as Thanksgiving in the U.S. And essentially, if you're from somewhere that doesn't have Thanksgiving, it's basically just celebrating the harvest. Difference in Canada and the U.S. is, I guess, we live more north, so harvest would be at a different point in the year. So, that's why we have ours now. And in the U.S., they celebrate it in November, mid-November. That's obviously a big one because they have Black Friday down there. Lee and Trade, Starbucks question mark. I'm glad you brought this one up. First thing, 17.5 just came in here on MARA. I don't have offers until we break out 60s, and then we'll just see where it goes from there. And before I go to Starbucks, I just want to update. I said I would not reload that last time on AMD. We didn't. But it is still holding underneath VWAP. I thought we'd get to VWAP. We're just not getting into VWAP on advanced micro devices. So it's still relatively weak, and I only want to look short that name. But I want to see some more confirmation. Right now, it's putting in higher highs off this bottom. There you go, there you go, there you go. Sorry, higher lows off this bottom. I'd like it to start trending back into the downside before we jump over and jump back into the short. Only want to be short that name. It's relative weakness as far as I'm concerned. Starbucks was a recent question there. It's still holding. It's holding out in the middle, but there we go. What's good about it, at least what looks good about it, is you've got very, very clean support, which is now turning into the 50-period moving average. It wasn't before, but the 50 sits here, and you've got another one of these like downward wedge downward wedges going on, where you do a break like this. It's not a high break, it's not breaking the high, but if it can just close above this wedge, I think it's a nice little trend reversal, short-term trend reversal back into the $100 level for Starbucks. So all of a sudden, there's a trade that isn't a 100 breakout for me on Starbucks, which, to be honest, we've been waiting for since August, looking for that 100 break on SBucks. But suddenly you've got this little trend reversal. So we'll probably have to close above 90. Right now would be 96 and change, and then you could play into the $100 level there on Starbucks. Not really doing anything today. You would think maybe with the Chinese name moving around that it would be, but it's not. I think you want to work off of that one. Just be maybe patient for this one, as I do think it's in a nice little bull flag, and this trend break could be pretty solid for it. Just going back over to Apple, which we're in, still can't seem to get through this 230.80 level. So we got out when it lost the VWAP. We got back in when it regained VWAP, and we're still looking for it to break 230.80 to get some out in front of 231. The market is starting to head back into the downside. So Apple might not be able to give it to us just yet, but we want to be patient with it. Nimit just said Intel today. You know, Intel never really set up for anything that I was in love with on Intel. And I look back at it, yeah, you know what? It wasn't really the 24 level that we got to play off of. You probably could have shorted this one. I felt like AMD was a little bit weaker because it had the event. The big breakout on Friday was 230.30, so 23.30. I guess that would be a nice little spot in there. But that's about it. The 23.30 is where it broke out on Friday. 23.30 looks like it was a wick bottom in the morning. Maybe a little bit of a bounce play off of that level as far as the trade goes. But Intel wasn't really on my radar this morning. Now all of a sudden, I guess it's at a reasonable price. But relatively weak, so I wouldn't personally want to go long. I'd rather be looking short like AMD.
All right, our out is on Nvidia there. Again, with only 10 minutes left, I mean, we can say what's for lunch. I mean, we'll just say right now what's for lunch around most of Canada today will be leftover turkey. So we do not have
roast beef
catering today. So we'll figure it out where we're going to go. But there goes Nvidia right now breaking back down below. I mean, I'm still going to get out at 138.50 break. I'm not even, I mean, we can change this now that VWAP is there. Why don't we do that? 138.40. So we'll take a little bit more then if it does drop in. Right now, FXI. So first of all, right now, I mean, we are just, I mean, it hasn't been an easy day. I think you've sort of seen that here with some of the trading. But SoFi right now, 40 cents in the money and back up to these highs. So let's offer some out here at 92. There it is. We'll take that fill. And right now, there goes SoFi. Again, the biggest trade for me, and as it should be. Again, right there on the sticky note. Right behind that, though, is going to be Nvidia, as Nvidia, nicely done to the upside there. And then right here, let's go China, let's go. And by that, we mean go to the down. Okay, we're right here at 13s again. I'm still bidding 13. I'm going to get this key ready to punch out some 15s in case we... Are you serious? Right there. You saw that, Fabian? Goes right down into 13 and stops again. So I don't know if it must be an unlucky number there coming through for. Okay, that's
Market's dropping.
I'm just
big.
Yeah. All right, so I'm just going to bid right there. We'll punch a little bit out on FXI. Well, no, we didn't actually right now. All right, we'll get to 13s, 14s. Or so. Market dropping, FXI not. Let's bid some more out at 15. There we go. We'll just punch some 15s and cancel our 13s, get some more out. But Neil, good call on that one, baby. This has been a big day right now for us as we continue to go. It's going to be one of them days again. So FXI, Nvidia, Palantir, we all good, baby.
Yeah, I just got out Apple through 230 as that lost a bid, and I'm taking more shares up. Look, Mara is continuing to trend, but when the market just broke VWAP in here, there we go. When the market just broke VWAP, Apple at the exact same moment. I feel like they're just going lockstep with each other. So I'm jumping out of that one right quick. And then there was that little bit of a curl. Like the second it lost a bid, I looked over, saw Mara, pretty much a similar thing, but it wasn't flushing through VWAP. It was just at 17.75. You can see the offer get a little bit heavy. The sell started coming in. I got one fill. Going to get some more out here at the 17.7 level if we're able to. But obviously, the market's starting to give it up. It's still green on the day. I mean, the market's still going to be nicely green, but starting to come back in here. A good time to take some profit. Not going to put on a mean reversion short. Up 10%. You're at 66,000 on Bitcoin and still looking incredibly strong. But I do think it's going to make some sense to look for some of the weaker names to the south side. One of those is trying to hold on to VWAP. I said over-under a firm at 48 and then decided I didn't want that trade from Friday. It was a different setup. Like I wasn't shorting on Friday on a firm at 48 because it was 48. I was doing so because it was a mean reversion trade. It broke the trend line and then dipped back in. What's weird about this all of a sudden is you've got 4 green candles bursting upside as the market's pulling back. That 48 level, it's going to have to hold pretty nicely. All of a sudden, the firm is a little bit counter trend, so we'll back away from that one. Going to go back over AMD. It's still not busting the bottom. Even on that big pullback, it couldn't break the lows. AMD might be making its low as far as it looks like to me. So going to back away from that. Apple, we like 229.5 or 227.5. Those are the only 2 places that I want to get back in that aren't VWAP or 230. So we said if we either hold this price or we wait for it to get back into the breakout price. So just going to play the patience game here. Crypto's still looking relatively strong as they continue to churn up. But Apple only up 1% now. This was all the way up at 231.40 and is now trying to give it back up. If the market's going to hold on, Apple's going to have to do some work in here. But I'm not touching this one unless we get down to 229.5 or back above VWAP. Those will be the reload spots. I want to stick with Apple because this was one we wanted that break on 30 all Friday long. We finally got it. And as long as it wants to hold the level, we'll keep sticking with it.
All right. You guys, Obi was filling out for me, and I see now we got some competition back there. Congratulations, Obi, having a nice day as well. So we'll do that, man. We'll go slap it up there for Obi. Congratulations, my guy in the back. We anointed him the next one a long hell of a time ago. Now he's the only one, so shout out to Obi. Okay, so just real quickly, man, hit that QR code right there on your screen to get involved with eSignal. I've been using eSignal for over 22 years. And that is 100% the truth. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade right now to that elite trading experience. I mean, you want to talk about customizable charts. You want to talk about the ability to zoom in and out, just real quick, lightning fast data speeds, right? I mean, that's what it's all about for me. Get those quick watch list updates. Get those indicators. Get those moving line crosses. Everything right away. It's been fantastic. There's the scans right there on your screen right now. And the best for me, some of the best part is that before the show, when I was trading Europe names and all over the place, more OTC markets, everything like that, we were really able to take advantage of some of the different entitlements that you can get from eSignal. And I believe for your money, the best charting software. So go over there immediately and subscribe to eSignal. Go give it a shot. Tell me if you like it or not. Scan that QR code right there. Trade smarter, not harder. And I hope that you guys have identified that I'm trying to trade a little bit smarter than normal right now. And just by sitting here and relaxing and making sure that we have the right stock at the right time for the right prices. And I mean, honestly, like we sat here in this FXI and could have really panicked. And we did panic a little bit by getting some out. But now let's let this trade sort of develop and see if we can hit a win now instead of just sitting around and hovering on this level. But I'm going to give it a shot. We are bidding now. I mean, I was my next fill. We took a 16 there. Am I still bidding 13s? Did I cancel that or not? No, yes, I did. So I'm bidding nothing now. Got to get those bids back in there. 33 and change. I think that's a possibility. And I think we can even go lower than where we are right now. So again, so far so good. Thank you so much to everybody, man. I just hope you enjoy the show. We do have Joe coming up. We'll talk more about some options. Get your education on that one. I'm not sure what the show. What is the lesson, Joe? It is average true range right now and trailing stop. So, and again, you guys, we without honesty and all that, we don't have anything. So I'll tell you that right now we will go 3 for 3 in closed positions and just waiting for FXI to come back in to see about a 4 for 4. If we get out right now, it'll be a drop in the bucket on our loss, but I'm willing to let this thing get back to the upside there. So let's see if FXI wants to fade out here for the rest of the day. So that's how it's going over here. So yeah, so far so good. With only a couple minutes left, we'll see everybody at 2 o'clock.
Still have a couple minutes to go here. Just want to get one thing out there. Obviously, Tesla is now churning. This wick's still going to be bothering me in here. Obviously, the long didn't work out on Tesla, but you got to try to keep things in the pocket. It was easily the best opportunity on Friday. There's no question about it when that 215 came in. So when you get this kind of a move on Friday, where's the first place I'm going to go to? It's going to be Tesla on an SSR bounce, on an SSR continuation. So unfortunately, it'll be a red one for me today, but I feel like it should have been the biggest because it was going to be the best one in terms of trading opportunity. I thought this SSR bounce was minimum $3. It is $3. I'm just not in it. That said, you got to look for the next trade. And the next trade, as crazy as it seems to want to chase this higher, like the market is now flying down. Okay, flying down is a harsh word, but you're breaking VWAP as Tesla's holding on to the upside. So all of a sudden, Tesla looks strong. When the market was strong, Tesla was weak. All of a sudden, Tesla's got some relative strength on it. I don't want to be catching a falling knife here. If the market cannot catch a bid, then I won't like VWAP as much. But you can see the first red candle was at 218 on that move off the upside. Now 218 is also going to be VWAP. I want to play off this during lunchtime. If we can get back into 218, get a VWAP bounce play, there is a ton of room to 225 on Tesla. 225 being the 50-period moving average. I said 225 is a short. I still believe there's a short opportunity at 225 in there, but there's a long way before you get there. So I want to play back into 218. It also happens to be where it closed on Friday, so it's a bit of a red to green, green to red story at that 218 level. So VWAP, going to have to hold on, but the market is coming back in as we speak. I should be, all right, not yet on Mara, but it's getting pretty darn close to just dropping out of Mara. If it, like the new trend after the breakout, if this candle closes underneath the trend line, that's an out for me. As a matter of fact, no, it's just an out. I'm not going short here, but it's just an out. If we close this candle at 11 o'clock, I guess it'll be 11 or 11 o'clock. Then I just jump out of Mara because that is a trend reverse. If I'm not going short, I am certainly getting out of it. And now it's 11, so you will see me punch out on Mara. Not going short off of this because I think crypto is the strongest thing going right now.
Yeah, 66
but
still.
certainly 10% up on Mara. We'll ring the register there. We'll take you off to Sharif and Joseph. Average true range, whatever it is, a few things have broken it this morning, that's for sure.
Happy Thanksgiving.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That's your boy Joe.